That's honoring Josiah's spirit. You hate Josiah? Is that what you're saying?
Listen, I don't mean to be rude. I fucking hate it for some reason.
You hate Josiah.
No. It just reminds you of 2006 Republicans. That's why you hate it. What's up, everybody? It's Live and Learn with all your hosts, and I've had a new request. I can't introduce everyone because some people only listen and they don't know who the fuck is who. So why don't we go top left first? Who's that? Who are you?
My name is Hutch, and I make videos and put them on the internet.
Awesome. I'm the Soy Pill. I also make videos on the internet. Bottom left.
I'm really important. Mostly debate MAGA on TikTok.
And
I'm Econo Boy, and I mostly talk about economics from a socialist perspective. Just kidding. I'm Pisco.
Yeah. And speaking of, today we have with us liberal Biden shill and a guy. You asked, "What's a nonfon?" I think. If Econo Boy was like an asexually reproducing being, he would spawn off a nonfon. It's like a mini little economics expert. Nonfon, hi, who are you? What's up with you?
Yeah, I'm Nonfon, famed Econo Boy orbiter. I talk about economics from a liberal perspective.
Your name kind of sounds like a classic R&B song from the 90s, the thong song. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, is it that song that goes dun 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 dun? Is that it?
Sorry. What does nonfon mean? Where'd you come up with that?
It doesn't mean anything. It's the name I came up with when I was like 10 years old. So
okay.
Whoa, it's like video game donkey.
If it ain't broke,
sure.
Nonfon, can you give us a little bit about your background and what you're all about?
Yeah, I'm not that interesting of a person. I guess, I started getting interested in politics like when I was in like 8th grade. I should clarify first. I'm 20 years old.
You're
a middle schooler.
Yeah, but so, and I think I started out kind of as a, Bernie bro type person, just because I was like, just kind of the vibe that my parents had and stuff, and what he said sounded good. I started like actually reading more into politics throughout like my freshman and sophomore year of high school, and I started leaning more socialist, and eventually I started reading more and more and started leaning more towards neoliberalism or however you want to brand center left Democrat moderate position. And like 2-ish years ago I started streaming about it. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So your parents were socialists? It's like one battle after another.
I mean, my parents are, they're not socialists. They're sock dem types, I guess. They have some sock dem intuitions, but we're working on it. I'm fixing it over time. Don't worry.
Nonfon, do you like black girls?
Oh my God. I love them.
Do you have your own place?
No.
Oh, okay.
Why do you gotta out them like that?
Why do you gotta?
Because you have a bed frame. That's like a big thing that distinguishes like people in their early 20s. It's like a lot of people don't have a bed frame. I didn't get a bed frame until I was in like my 30s, and so I was gonna say you have a bed frame, and so that automatically puts you, probably leagues ahead of your peers.
True, I guess.
And I also want to say there's like been like a I don't know if it's a trend, but there's a bunch of these like young, white, skinny, like guys who are like this center left new movement. And I just got to say, it's pretty interesting that there's like this rash of new individuals who are like trying to be base libs. And so, good on you.
Are you lumping me in with Dean and Parker? I don't claim them.
No. I mean, who knows what I'm doing? No. Who did we have the other week?
Like Adam.
No. The other week we also had another like wonkish type. Oh my God.
Micah?
Yes, Micah. Yeah.
I'm curious. How come you don't go further? How come you're not further left? Because a lot of young people in your position that are interested in politics tend to be further left. So why are you more towards the center?
So, I mean, what kind of sparked that evolution, I guess, or whatever. I took this sounds so cringe and lame. I took an economics class in high school, and it was less the economics class and more the conversations that I had with my teacher, and the stuff that I read when I was talking to him that like slowly shifted my mindset. And actually, so Micah like used to post stuff. He used to like have like economic blogs and Substack and stuff. I remember reading his issues with market socialism blog post. I think it's still up, and that shifted my opinion on worker co-ops at least a decent amount.
Wow.
Like, not being for mandating them, and I've just continued to read more and more. And most things I read push me in a more center left direction.
So
We stand.
I feel old.
We stand open-minded youth. It's good. It's good.
Would you say you're more of a status quo kind of guy? Like most things are the way they should be.
I don't know if I want to say status quo
apologize.
right now. Yeah, so I'm somewhat of a like establishment chill to some extent. Now I think like being a true establishment chill means that you should be willing to fight. You should be willing to even like break some norms. Like if obviously like if Trump is doing something that's entirely anti-establishment, trying to just get more power in the executive branch. And I think there are some moderate Democrats who like fail to do that. But
Like
I
a little Cuck Schumer type person that might be leading our Senate Democrats.
Listen, I don't have strong enough opinions on Chuck Schumer.
You don't want to burn that bridge just yet. Don't worry.
Okay,
He had a pretty good statement. He had a pretty good statement. All right.
You guys are
Top
gonna run him through the gauntlet at the end of the episode. All the purity testing questions, right?
Top three Democratic Party presidents in history. Go.
Oh
in
shit.
history,
Yes.
bro. I don't know. So I think, I mean, oh my god, I don't even know. I can only think
Andrew
of like, the
Johnson.
bad things. I can only think of like the bad things that historical presidents did. I think Bill Clinton was probably pretty decent. I can't even remember. I don't even know what half the shit Obama did, bro.
Do your
I
peers
actually don't.
do your peers
even
hate
alive.
you? Do they hate you? Like you just said, Bill Clinton was one of the best presidents. I mean, I respect it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
You're
this.
a
energy.
Nazi.
You respect Bill Clinton as the best president, Nudge?
I respect that he doesn't get. I mean, I'm just saying,
Wait,
Nonfon doesn't give a fuck. He just
Bill-
said that Bill Clinton was
That's
one of the
true.
best Democratic Party presidents because 20 years
He
old.
was.
I'm
Bill
just
Clinton,
saying.
the Epstein client.
You even got a BJ in the White
No,
House,
no.
man.
The financier.
Client.
Wait,
Who's your
can we
leading-
get the definitive list though? I mean, it's Biden, it's Obama.
I do like
and
Biden.
Yeah, now they both have their problems, and I also think you should give LBJ some credit. But was it 30 years or 50 years, or they're both? Wow, it's 2026. It would need to be longer than 50 years for LBJ.
Yeah.
I would
Who's your
say it would be closer to 70, 75,
Who's
or
your-
65, 65 years, something like that.
Yikes.
Who's your top 2028 candidate right now? If you had to vote tomorrow,
Wait, let me guess. Ooh,
I would go if I had to guess Buttigieg.
I was going to say the same thing, actually. Yeah.
no, I say Newsom.
I like
what does he say?
Buttigieg. I'm worried that Buttigieg is going to be more progressive when he runs in 2028. I think he already started getting more progressive under Biden. There's no one I would really feel confident saying that they're my number one pick, given that I think everyone will start to change their positions when they actually start running. But I like Buttigieg. I don't think I know enough about Andy Bashir to say he's my number one pick, but I've heard good things about Andy Bashir. Those would be probably who I would lean towards.
Healthcare policy. Would you want the whole thing privatized, or do you?
What a
would you
gauntlet.
would you support a public option? I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, I was
We're doing,
talking
we're doing the gauntlet now.
I
I
just
was
want to
talking
see
to
how
Phil about
nib-
this the other day. Okay, the worst thing Biden did, was the drug negotiations. I think they were. That's not accurately. They were price caps. I don't think they're accurately characterized as negotiations. But so I think in some sense, I would favor a public option. I don't like that we have sort of a number of like separate agencies. Like we have, the Veterans Affairs, and they do their TRICARE for veterans, and sometimes
So fuck the
they
veterans.
actually-
So fuck the
Absolutely.
veterans. You know, Alex
Well,
Perry was a VA nurse, right? So you want him out of a job as well as dead?
Wow. Is that what you-
I'm saying I think that we should probably have some type of like public option that just kind of consolidates all the separate care that we have for people. And I think it would probably be good to like contract it out essentially the same way we do like Medicare Advantage plans. I think that the evidence I've seen of that seems to suggest that like for the same price they tend to have better outcomes, or at least the same outcomes. And also, unironically,
which countries
to some
mixed
extent,
model?
I don't think I would go for any specific country's mixed model.
No ideal we can
something
strive
new.
to. So you're saying America's the best?
We have ideal healthcare.
No. So I don't think we're not the best for the median person. I don't think. I think if you're rich, we're essentially the best. But I think I do think the sort of meme about other countries free riding on our pharmaceutical innovation and other medical innovation is somewhat true.
What about Israel? What's their healthcare system like?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. Actually, I know they have some type of public option.
Chill out, Hassan.
And speaking of shitting on healthcare and progressives, Hutch, is that where you scoped Nonfon out, where you came onto my wig panel and started talking about the base Democrats?
Oh shit!
I did listen to you guys talk. It was really brief. It was only like three minutes or something.
Yeah, and I heard he's like, "Who is this guy? Who is this guy? This Nonfon character?"
Talking some shit about Hassan Figueroa. What'd you say, Nonfon?
I didn't say anything about Hassan.
He was actually criticizing because I did that panel with Progressive Victory with some of the progressive candidates, and he's like, "Why are you supporting these people when they have silly policies like a $25 minimum wage?" Which I do think is silly, but I think they do a lot more good than they're doing harm. What would you disagree, Mr. Fawn?
Well, right now, no. I wouldn't disagree. I think there's there's no Republican or like presidential nominee on the Republican side that I would ever like consider voting for, even like in state and local elections. I don't think there's anyone I would any Republican I would support. But I do think I don't think the cost of like if we were to truly do single payer healthcare, or if we were to truly go full scale with unions and labor market regulations and stuff, I don't think those would be like totally negligible. I think like that would have a substantial effect on our overall growth and on with pharmaceutical innovation, like just the number of future
in improving it, right? And improving it.
No, in making it worse.
I gotta say, I'll go ahead. Please go.
So focusing on labor regulations and regulation in general, you think will have a negative effect on medical innovation. Okay, right? That's correct.
Well, I think the single payer healthcare is going to have a decently sized, at least, negative effect on medical innovation. I think that labor market regulations are more likely to have negative effects on overall growth. I don't think they would affect pharmaceutical innovation that much specifically.
I gotta say, I love hearing a 20-year-old commit to straight ticket Democrat, blue no matter who.
I love it.
To me, guys, and I don't know if we want to start the conversation here, or if we want to start with the Minneapolis shooting, but to me, that's the only question that I think matters right now. If you're having a conversation with someone about politics and you're trying to decide like where you guys are at, and if you guys share the same quote unquote side, you ask them, are you committed to voting straight ticket Democrat for the foreseeable future? And if the answer is no, you can regard that person as political opposition. That's where I'm at with things right now.
Have you guys seen the
I love that Stalinistic thinking, and it's very good, Hutch. I mean, really, that's the only important question is the virtue signal.
That's
not the only important conversation.
That's a commitment to trying to win, Pisco.
No. I agree. You should ask the question at some point if it's an online person, but a lot of caveats there. There's interesting dialogues to have with people, even if they don't give those specific disclaimers. And IRI, for example, I think is a great person who has conversations with people who might not be willing to make that disclaimer and respects them, not as opposition, just based on what they're going to say, and have the conversation and don't just make it about the virtue signal.
Well, let me revise what I had to. Like, if someone demonstrates themselves to be open-minded, that's a different conversation. But if someone is just principally just like, if they understand the stakes and they're still not committing, then you would agree that not supporting Democrats on ballots is akin to helping Republicans win, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So in practice, they're opposition then, right?
I mean, I think in practice, they're doing effective opposition.
Okay, that's what I mean. We got to start drawing these battle lines. We don't
I
need
mean, I
to
think
do
you
this.
should.
Do we have to do it now? We can
No,
wait
no,
till
no.
after the primary, right, Hutch?
We don't need to have that. Let's get into Minneapolis. Let's talk about this.
Let's all be on the same side here.
I'm not going to do this fucking
Support ICE, right?
yeah. Okay.
Abolish ICE, right?
Non-fun. Let's just get your thoughts. Like, talk about your reaction to, I guess, both shootings. What did you think of the protest movement this weekend? The administration's response. Where you think this is headed? Yeah, dive into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything unexpected. I think both shootings were unjustified. It's less clear to me whether the Renee good shooting, whether that was there's no self-defense claim there, but certainly this second one, I don't think there's any self-defense claim there. I think this is like obviously at the very least. It is because a lot of ICE members are untrained and Trump and the administration doesn't care. I think they're like, well, almost certainly is just their culture within ICE and within even the administration that they just don't have any regard for the well-being of immigrants. And there's some active hatred there that makes these things more likely. And there's probably some active hatred for the domestic terrorists that have been filming them as well. And that is what's leading to these confrontations. And I think I would support abolish ICE. You guys might be able to clarify this. I guess I wouldn't see though. I'd be curious what you think, like the big difference between just like laying off most of the people who are hired under Trump and having a president that is not doing these type of raids. What the difference between that and actually abolishing ICE would be, because I don't see a big difference there.
Well, we'll unpack these questions and Pisco, why don't you start us off with that, and then everybody else can give their thoughts. But I do want to give some breaking news. The Atlantic is reporting that Greg Bavino, that little Nazi fuck, has been removed from his role as Border Patrol Commander at Large and will return to his former job in El Centro, California, where he is expected to retire soon. So it seems like he got fired. And Secretary Noem and advisor Corey Lewandowski are at risk of losing their jobs as well. So there's a little bit of breaking news there. Pisco, thoughts? Go.
Sacrificial lambs. No, but on the specific question of like, what's the difference? I think the difference is from the perspective of like the legal distinction, abolishing an agency, making it defunct is very different than firing personnel within it by definition, right? Getting rid of the agency means it's not functioning anymore. There is no such thing as it. Firing people within it is merely sort of changing who's within the agency. And I think there's a good reason to abolish the entire agency at this point. I think that after this administration, they would have recruited heavily and specifically for people who are ideologically motivated for a given sort of position, which seems to be not respecting the rights of the American people, or indeed any of the people who they're attempting to detain or deport. I think that they've shown themselves to be a clear and present danger to the American people. And I think that we need a new agency or an old agency with a mandate that puts first as a priority respecting the rights and privileges of the American people. And so that's the difference, in my opinion.
I'm not a fan of abolish ICE. I think it requires too much explaining, like defund the police. I understand that there's support for that now, but in the end, we want a federal agency that works with state and local officials to do targeted pinpoint raids on bad people. I think ICE is full of shit right now about what they're doing. I don't think they're going about it right, but I think there's just too much. We expect people to fill in the gaps and come up with, oh, but you mean you still want this to happen or not? I think it's just too easy for people to go, oh, so you want child rapists to be in communities that are undocumented? Got it.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think I agree with the hesitancy because the defund the police slogan was so poison. But when you look and if you don't have to explain to people, if you just say, hey, this is a corrupt agency, we need to reform it. I don't think that's not like some burden that we have to hop over to just say, abolish ICE, let's do, immigration with some other facility or for some other department. That's not that much of an ask for people to understand that. I don't think it's nearly so crazy as abolish the police. And most people don't even know that ICE was recently created, but I don't think most people even know what ICE is until now, when all they see is them essentially being the enforcement arm of the executive branch. And just like you said, like, oh, the facade of, they're going in and getting rid of the bad people. Well, you look at the letter that they've sent to Tim Walz, and one of the demands is give us your voter registration data, which is like, it couldn't possibly be more blatant that, oh, this has nothing to do with the immigration. If you're saying you'll withdraw people, you'll stop doing ICE operations in this state. It's clearly not an important thing that you want to do mass deportations. You're just trying to enforce what the president wants. So I don't know. I think it needs to go.
I'm pro abolish ICE with some caveats, and I think I can give you guys a pragmatic reason as well. The caveat that I would give, and well, I'll start with the pragmatism. I think the pragmatic reason is the same reason why I think like Chuck Schumer should step aside his leadership. It's not even because I think he's been a particularly horrible leader. I think it's because he's lost the confidence of the voters, and it would foster goodwill for the party for him to step aside. I think that would be a meaningful gesture. And similarly, we're seeing right now support for ICE collapse like significantly. There's multiple polls now showing pretty astonishingly, in my opinion, considering we went from a year ago around the time of the election, the country had very obviously shifted right on immigration. And then a year later, it's like 55% now support abolishing ICE. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Yeah. So there's an opportunity there to do kind of like a repeal and replace situation, but you would need to pair it with, like, you need to do two things. The first thing you would need to do is signal to the public that the Democratic Party still believes in some kind of enforcement mechanism for border security and immigration policy. And then the second thing you would need to do is you would need to pair a policy of abolishing ICE with specific reform asks. 1,000% mandated body cameras at all times with significant punishments for officers that do not comply. Way more training protocols, way more screening protocols to make sure that we're not hiring people who are prone to abuse power. You can propose, like, I'll leave it to the policy wonks. I'm sure there's like 10 other specific reforms that you could push. But as long as you do both of those things, then I think that there's a path that's forming right now to galvanize support for abolishing ICE. You just have to be smart about it.
What about abolish Trump's ICE? Like, if you put the Trump qualifier on that, like,
I like it.
No,
I mean, I kind of like that. Yeah.
It doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same. I'm just gonna say it doesn't hit the same.
I don't know. I think we'll cover the whole spectrum of the like worried about it IRIs to the like fucking get rid of all of these people and Nuremberg them. Abolish Trump's ICE. I think
you guys can do that. Stuff. You guys can do that. I'm gonna go grab my abolish ICE shirts. I do, however, think in terms of optics, this is the name of the act that I'm proposing. The Renee Good and Alex Preddy Justice Act.
Ooh.
And you do the kind of Lake and Riley Act.
Lake and Riley thing, yeah. That's so good. I'm not even kidding. That's so good.
Just fucking, it hits. And you make the mandate. It's a dual mandate: internal immigration enforcement for the new agency and respect for constitutional rights. And that's the number one mandate, is respect for the rights of the American people. And that needs to be a new culture, a whole new culture. And anyone who's in government who's wearing ICE, that will make that a crime. Any kind of ICE shirt, any kind of paraphernalia, crime.
Abolish
ICE.
I'm not sure how I agree with the last part.
Yeah, wait, what?
While on duty. While on duty. While on duty. While on duty.
Jeez.
No First Amendment issue there. Is it a uniform? Is that a First Amendment issue? No. Not off duty, on duty.
These motherfuckers.
I think obviously, even if it doesn't violate the law, the First Amendment, like in like the
how would it violate the law to say it's not allowed as part of your uniform to wear ICE? If ICE is abolished, Nonfon, how would that be a First Amendment issue?
I'm not. You're a lawyer, okay? So
that's right.
I would have. I would like. I know in Tinker v. Des Moines, and like this is different, obviously, but like
that's a school case. That's a school case. That's a school case involving kids. That's right.
They fucked up, boys.
Cover institution where you're allowed to wear something as part of your freedom of expression. I don't know that, but
not ICE, because it'll distract people and they'll be confused and they'll think that ICE is back, but ICE is abolished.
They killed a mom who literally had stuffed animals in her glove compartment, and then they killed a white Christian VA nurse, Second Amendment like enthusiast. They fucked this up. I mean, obviously killing people is wrong, but I'm just saying. The idea that they thought that they could convince the public that this guy was a terrorist who showed up to do, quote, maximum harm and mass murder ICE agents.
Assassin.
And then that day, there's videos of this guy leading a prayer for a veteran that died in his care at the VA. I would be shocked if Kristi Noem survived another month politically.
Well,
I mean,
I actually want to ask about that. Do you think that this news about Bovino stepping down, is this because the optics are just so bad? And were they
Yeah.
not, if the polling weren't shifting against them, would they triple down and say, nope, fuck it, like we're doing great and ISIS
Of
did
course.
perfectly?
Yeah.
Of course, this is a
They
concession.
feel they're vulnerable.
They know that they totally lost the narrative on both of these, frankly. But this one was, in my opinion, much more egregious. He died protecting a woman. He died. That was his last instinct. He died protecting a woman, and his last words were very likely, "Are you okay?"
I want to shout out.
I have like totally apolitical friends, and this is anecdotal, obviously, but like the one thing that like gets them actually somewhat interested in politics is the ICE raids, is the ICE shootings, because those do go viral. Those are, on Instagram Reels. That is the one thing that actually gets them motivated.
Are these the conservative friends, or are these are
these are apolitical,
like normies?
Like,
got it. I want to shout out, and this is not going to help the rumors because I usually don't like this guy.
Don't do
Glenn
it.
Greenwald's recent video.
I thought you were going to say someone else there, buddy. Oh boy. Okay. All right.
You almost got me there. Glenn Greenwald's recent video on Alex Preddy. It didn't take a view on the legal justification angle, even though I think that's pretty clear. From my perspective, people can have different opinions. I think it's pretty clear. It just took a look at the lies of the administration, like the objective lies that Hutch referenced. He's an assassin. The fact that they were both parodying each other, saying mass, what were they going to say, massacre or mass casualty event or maximum damage, maybe. And it is just unconscionable to think that they would be in charge of, for example, invoking the Insurrection Act, claiming all these wild and extravagant powers to conduct war wherever they want to with no oversight. Why would we, if they can't even be honest about things that are happening in front of our eyes that are debunked within seconds, how can we trust them with anything else? And at some point, I think the overreach is going to kick him in the ass, and maybe it's doing it right now.
And they're already coming out and saying they're not going to release the body cam footage, or at least.
Oh, really? They said that?
Yeah, that was in one of the press conferences. But it's exactly what you're saying. It's like if they're willing to blatantly lie.
Wait, hold on. Are you sure they committed to that? Because I watched the.
I didn't know. She didn't commit. It was just like President Trump has no indication that he's going to do this. Like, instead of being transparent about this, but it could come out later. But as far as I know, they have not signaled that they're going to.
Okay. Yeah.
But to bounce off that Peace Code, the idea that like we literally can see in the footage that they're 180 lying the complete opposite of what reality is. Same with the Renee Good. They said she knocked him over, ran him over. This guy approached ICE agents with a weapon, like implication being like he's like pointing his gun at them. Like it's just blatant lies. So if they're going to do this, like how can we trust like anything at this point? I feel like I'm a QAnoner now, where it's just like, oh, the deep state, and like I can't trust anything in the government. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I believe all that shit, and I believe it. And I think the Epstein files is coming back, because this is going to add to this mistrust. It kind of reminds me a little bit, though I was not alive during this era, the post-Nixon era. There was this like kind of during the 70s boom of oversight laws. Think like the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, the Church Committee, all this stuff. When the American people were just fed up with the deceits, the lies, the misdirection and doublespeak about Vietnam and Nixon and Watergate, all that stuff. I just feel like we need to have another moment like that. And that needs to include with it, not just like oversight, but structural reform. And a lot of that is the stuff that Josiah talks about. It's my number one issue is accountability, punishment, and structural reform. And I think everything, maybe some of the great policy prescriptions that some of you have or that Nonfon wants to achieve is premised on doing that and implementing it to protect our system and actually have the changes that we want to see be implemented.
I understand where you guys are coming from on this, but I think the public still wants the underlying mission of ICE. Obviously, they're going about it in a crazy way right now that the public doesn't support, with stopping people, racial profiling, stuff like that. But I mean, aren't you guys concerned at all that the Republicans are going to come out with ads in the midterms that say these child rapists are who the Democrats are protesting the arrest of?
Not if you do it right. Not if you do it right. Again, like if you pair it with you pair it with tangible asks, and yeah, I mean that I think it's that simple. I mean, like if there's a way to telegraph a policy, or telegraph support for a policy, or run on a policy in a way that makes it very clear that the Democratic Party is obviously not saying that the federal government should have no mechanism to enforce our immigration policy.
Yeah,
There is a way to do that. And the public, you say that you're worried about the public, but the public's 55%. I mean, there's been a 30-point swing in favor of abolishing ICE.
But I think they're pissed at the way ICE is going about things, not at ICE as a whole. Because ICE operated under Biden and nobody had any complaints.
But what's to stop us from doing the counter ads RI, where we take these like sickening stills of all these people pointing guns at these victims who are not like threatening them in any way, and say ICE is corrupt, we need a new institution to like fix our border, right? Like that's all. I think that's going to play so much better than they want to protect pedophiles and rapists, like just based on what Hutch is saying, the polling. Like we make better attack ads, I think it goes in our favor.
And focus on Americans' rights. Like, this is a police state. It's papers, please. They're wearing masks. Whatever immigration enforcement looks like, it can't look like this. And the institution that we have now has shown itself incapable of operating under the constraints of our constitutional system, and therefore it needs to go. And we need a new agency with a new mandate that puts respect for the constitutional rights, not just of people who are targeted by ICE, but of Americans who are innocent exercising their liberties. And that's what's most important, right? Because you want to just like try to make this about Kilmar Beggar Garcia. That's one thing, right? And I think that matters. And we did see an opinion shift on that. But when it comes to American civil rights, you're gunning down a VA nurse who's trying to help a woman without any justification. We should be running on that still image of the guy with him with a gun aiming at his back for the rest of the midterms. I have no problem with it.
Wait, let Guy respond.
Why not? Why not reform ICE?
Yeah, why not?
That shows we actually want to do something. I'm just so worried that people are gonna be like, these fucking Democrats want child rapists who are in this country illegally to stay here. I just know how my fellow man works in this country. They're morons.
But they already do that, right, Guy? Like they did that in the Kamala election. It was like, oh, they want to give trans health care to the pedophile, rapist, immigrant.
Yes.
Like, you know, what's going to stop them from doing it just because we changed the slogan, which might not play as well with the invigorated, angry base, right? Like,
But why that worked was because we didn't draw a line on where we stand on the trans stuff. Like, we didn't say what we support and what we don't support. I think that's been a big lesson for me, learned from the 2024 election. We need to draw a line in the sand and stop letting people fill in the gap with their imagination. Yeah. Oh, well, of course the Democrats want the federal authorities to help enforce this. I just think when we assume that, we lose.
I think we all agree, right, that the goal here is massive reforms, right? So whatever form that takes place, I'm frankly agnostic. I mean, I told you guys my position, but if this resulted in ICE remaining as an institution, but with a series of significant reforms codified through legislation, I'm happy. It doesn't really matter. It's just symbolic at that point.
What?
Right. So I mean, that's why I said, like, if you could just get rid of most of the people like Trump hired or whatever, and you had a president that was not, they just didn't have as a policy doing these raids, like I'd be perfectly happy with that. And I'm not sure whether or not you can message effectively on that, but I do have like some basic concern that the abolish ICE slogan is just gonna things could very easily swing back in the other direction if there's like some publicized like immigrant killing or of a U.S. citizen or whatever.
Or if there are riots that break out similar to 2020, I mean, right. Like we saw support for Black Lives Matter go up to, I think, 55% shortly after George Floyd. And then all of that was erased within 3 months because of the riots. And so if we're in a similar situation 3 months from now, if widespread rioting happens and that allows the Republicans to like seize control of the narrative, which I think would be really fucking stupid. And so I would encourage anybody listening to discourage their friends from doing stupid shit. And if that's the case, then you go with reforms. It's just, you should be dynamic.
My position is the policy I want to see is the abolishment of ICE. Given that it's the policy that I want to see, it is in fact what I think we should run on. And it is, I think, the message that we should try to promote. And I think that the way to address it is to focus on the reason why ICE needs to be abolished. And the reason ICE needs to be abolished is because they, as an agency isn't separate from its personnel in that respect, Nonfon, right? Agencies develop through a course of cultural development over time. Like, one of the horrible things that's happening with the gutting of all these different agencies is we're losing a lot of that internal cohesion that has been built up over decades and decades and decades at like very important agencies that regulate in the United States. And that sort of background culture, that stuff isn't easy to replace and recreate or to fix entirely. And so given that, I think that personnel and agency and policy are almost hand in hand. I want to get rid of it, and that will help with some of these potential First Amendment challenges if they try to say, oh, you're just coming after us because we're Trump supporters. No, we're just getting rid of the whole agency because of its culture. It's not any particular person. That will have the accomplishment of easy firings of everybody, and they can, if they want to, reapply for the new agency with a new mandate. I think it makes sense from a policy perspective. It avoids a lot of constitutional challenges or other kind of bureaucratic challenges that you could have because it has the imprimatur of Congress. And then ultimately, it is addressing the cultural rot at the center of ICE in a way that mere swaps of personnel will never accomplish.
Okay, two things. The first thing, who the fuck is Chud? What is that name? Chudsley Harriet. Who's that guy's got to go, bro.
What's going on?
They're
I'm looking at YouTube. I don't see Chudsley.
Why are you feeding the troll, Hutch?
They gotta go, bro. They're screaming. They're calling Nonfon a fascist. They're calling IRI a fascist. They're calling me a fascist. They are spamming that shit. Somebody's got to fucking.
Is it in Twitch chat or YouTube?
You know why it's not calling
up their chat for Christ.
Twitch chat or YouTube?
Whatever.
Okay, so then number two. I want to push back a little bit. What if Pisco? Let me give you a hypothetical. What if we could accomplish everything that you're trying to accomplish in terms of completely overhauling how we systemically enforce immigration policy? What if we could do all of that with a rebrand instead of, or with a massive reform policy instead of a completely new institution? And what if that pulled 25 points higher than abolish ICE? Would you be persuaded? You would prefer the? Oh, okay, all right.
If you're saying if I accomplished all my goals and I knew that it pulled way better, did you think I was gonna say no?
No.
Are you not testing if I'm just like virtue signaling?
No. I'm not. I swear to you, I'm not like trying to lead you into a gotcha. That was a genuine. I was genuinely curious because a lot of people that I spoke with in 2020, I had a conversation with somebody who, and I asked them this same hypothetical, but applied to Black Lives Matter or on defund the police. I said, what if you can get everything you want? Everything. What if you can convince lawmakers to pass legislation at the state level, at the federal level, and you can redirect funds from police departments to social services and do all that stuff by using a different slogan? And in doing so, you can guarantee that you get it. Would you do that? And the person said no. They said, I shouldn't have to change the slogan. It's not up to me to like explain this to normies. And that was the most insane thing I ever heard in my life. So I just wanted to make sure you weren't in that
insane. No, I appreciate it.
I think
so I don't see the Chud person. I just want to be clear. I don't see the Chud person in my YouTube chat. I just looked and I didn't see him in the Twitch chat. If we see him anywhere, we'll get him. We're gonna get the bad guys, all right?
Yeah, I blocked him on Restream, but he still shows up. I can see this guy everywhere, and now he's on YouTube too.
Look at bro, this guy is fully deranged. This guy.
Get the help you need, Chudley, whatever the fuckly. I think not.
He's on the official Live and Learn one. Don't worry, I'll get him. He's on the official Live and Learn one. I'll get him. I'll get him. He's not in mine. He's in the official Live and Learn. Okay, just heads up. We'll get him.
Fuck him. He's probably a Josiah fan. That's where he came from. I think Nonfon is spitting here. We are one undocumented immigrant away from killing a white college girl, from the public shifting to the other side on this. And then now we're sitting here rallying around abolish ICE. I think that could complicate things tremendously.
Well,
any concerns there?
Can you come up with a better slogan in the next 10 seconds? Because I think reform does not roll off the tongue nearly so well as abolish, even though it's fewer syllables.
Here's what I think. I don't think we need a slogan on it. I don't think we need to run on ICE. I think we are in a powerful position right now with the government shutdown to demand some serious changes, which I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. And by the way, I brought this up a couple weeks ago. We should shut down the government over demands for DHS, and it got a bit of a muted response. But I understand there's more now with this Alex guy, tragically. But we're on the verge of possibly getting body cams. We're on the verge of demasking these guys. We're on the verge of forcing them to not racially profile. So what if we get all those things in this shutdown fight? Do you guys still think abolish ICE is worth going with at that point?
No, I don't. Like, if we actually get those meaningful reforms, then yeah, I think it makes more sense to just get those reforms, right?
Yeah, I agree. If we can get the reforms and we don't have to risk, like you say, like I think it's not as big of a risk, but if it is, what about prosecute ICE? I like that better.
I saw a tweet and I didn't laugh and I disavow, but it said grape ice, and that is something I wouldn't support.
Oh wow, very brave, Pisco, that you don't support
What?
that as a
I
political.
don't support it. I don't,
Great.
I'm letting you know.
ICE,
I
you
don't.
just say ICE accountability. Boom. There you go. Simple, elegant.
That's great.
I like that.
Well,
Rolls
but
off the tongue.
Pisco, let me challenge you with that. If we do get some reforms, I'm not saying we're going to get $75 billion back like Bernie wants. I'm not saying we're going to get them demasked, but if we get them to really change and have to go about their business differently, do you still think abolish ICE will be a winning slogan?
If we are able to get reforms
Mhm.
in a different context, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the answer to that. I'm sorry.
Well, with the
think
reforms we're asking for now in the shutdown fight, I'm sure you've been seeing some of the stuff. they're talking about.
Post-reform, will abolish ICE play as well? Probably not.
Yes. Okay. Because I think we're about to see that. I really do. Because you're seeing people on the right, including lawmakers, starting to say, yo, this isn't right. We need to pump the brakes. You know, what are we doing here? And Trump firing that guy is a pretty big deal, too.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is the problem, right? The problem is almost entailed by the mission. The mission of mass deportation was always going to entail rights deprivations like we're seeing. Because once you get the people who are easy to get, they're in the system, they're the ones who are showing up for a lot of their hearings, they're ones who are more visible in other ways, potentially, or they're showing up to places where ICE is known to go. Once you get those people, there's still millions of other potentially removable immigrants in the country. And in order to find them and to reach the numbers that they're all pushing for, they're going to need to do things like searches. That's why they're expanding. They're trying to expand searches to not even require a warrant when it comes to trespassing on the home. That's why they're just going up to people and asking, hey, are you a citizen? Just based on their accent or because they're brown, these Kavanaugh stops and stuff. And so I don't really believe that this administration will ever be able to sufficiently reform ICE in this context while still trying to do their policy agenda, which they haven't backed down 1 second, of quote unquote mass deportation. And so I don't really see it that like it's a good optics win for the Bovina stuff, but this is like throwing meat out. They don't give a shit about Bovino. They just want a sacrificial lamb. That's not going to fundamentally change how shit is happening. It's just a way to try to get the Jimmies unrustled.
I mean, I can agree with that, but I mean, if you're just saying, and I agree with that, to be clear, that like the issue is the mass deportations, that's always just going to entail whatever rights deprivations. I mean, that's just an issue with the policy. The president would find a way, if they want to do mass deportations, to do the same thing that ICE is doing with whatever tools you give them access to. Like,
so the administration is going to keep doing whatever ICE is doing with whatever tools they have?
I mean, if you have an agency or the DHS have the same have similar authority, which I think you said you still want an agency to have the authority to do like internal deportations and stuff. Why would the president, if they support mass deportations, not just have the same authority to?
Oh no, because I'm not just worried about the agency's culture when we have a Republican president or when we have a lawless president. I'm worried about the culture in the context of a Democratic president. They're not going to be loyal to the mission that whatever Democratic president wants. They're not going to do that, right? So like, it's not an issue that just persists during Trump's tenure. And so you ask, well, wouldn't it be conceivable that if like a Trump-like figure wins again, that the reforms wouldn't be sufficient to guard against these abuses? Yeah, the problem there is Trump, but the problem also persists with respect to ICE beyond Trump and now would extend into future presidencies. And so that's why I think the reform is needed, even notwithstanding the fact that you can imagine a president either ignoring whatever new mandate you put there or just giving new personnel such that it doesn't matter. I still think that the reform is necessary.
Can I just add to that, Piso? Because I agree. Like what I hear when I hear reform and we just need to fix it, I hear means testing. And when I see means testing in like welfare or any of these other things, you're not going to get everyone. And when you see how terrible this has been used as the enforcement arm, like, I mean, like literally what was Bovino saying before he got let go recently, saying, hey, if you call us Gestapo, there will be consequences, like essentially saying and representing themselves as a Gestapo. And it's like, how do you reform this? How do you means test this? Like, yeah, we got all the bad ones, all the like people that signed up to because they hate brown people and are going to abuse the system. Like, we got every single one of them. How about we get rid of it and build it from the ground up, because I want to make sure these fucks never are employed again. That's where I'm at. So unless you could sufficiently show me that we're going to prosecute every single piece of shit that's in the administration right now, and then get our people, like, good people like IRA saying, who's just trying to go after like the violent criminals, I don't think there's any other way to do that.
Well, sure. I'm just weighing. I think you would agree, like even in like the case you just, like, if we don't fully prosecute everyone, like the threat of ICE would be reduced if we did get, whatever reforms. You would agree with that, right? Like,
yeah. Sorry, I was distracted. I'm trying to do the moderation stuff.
Well, I'm talking to Soyfield too. You would agree. Like, I'm just weighing, like, sort of what is the like probability of the abolish ICE messaging like backfiring versus like what is the difference between abolishing ICE and reforming ICE? Like is the difference in the amount of harm caused there sufficient to justify?
Yeah, I think the world I see
message?
that your guys' concerns are played out is, like you said, if we get another Laken Riley incident and like a week before the election, it's like, you want to abolish the organization that would have saved her? Like, yeah, that could happen. But I mean, again, yeah, it depends, I guess, when the election happens. Because if the election was next week, I'd say, fuck it, abolish ICE. If it happens after, yeah, maybe you got to change your messaging a little bit. But I don't know how risky that is. It's hard to say.
I wouldn't put it past the Trump administration to unleash 20 rapists undocumented that they have in their custody in a college town the week before the election, man. They're fucking nuts, these guys.
It seems like the further they push things, the bigger the response that they provoke. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I was so fucking inspired to see 50,000 people in Minnesota marching in sub-zero temperatures. We had 30,000 people in Los Angeles, city of 3.8 million people, almost 3.9 million people. And we got 30,000 people. That's a city of 425,000 people, and 50,000 people were marching. And if the reports about Bovino are true, that potentially resulted in somebody got fired. And so, they're setting an example, I think, for the country right now. And I think it's important to remind people too that Republicans are vulnerable going into these midterms. Anybody that is in a Trump plus 11, 12 district or state, thank you for doing that, by the way. So
I'm doing that until we can find a way to get rid of the fucking troll.
Any Republican that's serving in a Trump plus 12 or lower district or state is vulnerable right now. So yes, I think we should pressure Democrats right now to hold the line and to pick a fight over this. I think this is worth another shutdown fight. But also, if you live in a district or a state where a Republican is representing you in the House or the Senate, fucking call them, leave a voicemail. You can demonstrate in front of their offices. They are susceptible to pressure in a moment like these. All of these people care about their political futures, and all of them know that they're in deep shit right now. So like, it's not just the Democrats that can be pressured in this moment. Like, we can actually potentially extract concessions here.
Hold on, Hutch. I gotta give you some grief. Are you willing to go 6 months, a year? Shut down on this?
No. We already talked about this. We can retread that same ground. But like,
but that's happening. No, it's so funny. We had there was someone who was a big Hutch supporter in my community, and I love my Hutch supporters, and I love my Hutch supporters. And he was like, he was like from Germany, so he's like, I actually agree with Hutch a lot about what's happening. And he's like, we shouldn't do any kind of shutdown fight based on ICE. That was kind of his position. I don't know if that's your position. But the minute Chuck, I know, yeah, okay, but that was just his position. The minute Chuck Schumer came out and said, we're not going to support this, he changed his mind in the Discord. And I'm just like, are you guys just motherfucking following whatever Chuck says to do, bro? And I'm like, why?
Wait. Didn't Chuck come out in favor of a shutdown?
Yes. He did. No. I'm just saying, I'm saying that there's like a contingent of people. I don't know why. I'm not saying that you're necessarily that. I'm not lumping you in that sense, but I'm warning you that they exist, who I think take this kind of like Schumer maximalist position, which is what like Schumer is this master chess player, and what he decides is clearly what's in the best interest of the American people. And that's what I don't understand sometimes is how much deference is paid to Schumer among some Democrats.
But do you agree? Do you agree Schumer's doing well right now in this moment?
I think it's the right statement to make. Yes.
Oh my goodness!
I thought the same. I thought the statement was
All
good.
right.
I call balls and strikes. I'm fair and balanced. I always have been.
Wait, guys,
that's a
really
great
quick
statement.
update from Josiah. It looks like maybe Bovino's not gone. Have we backtrack on this? This is a classic Trump flip-flop.
That looks like some random administration person versus reporting from what was the
This is
outlet
Trisha
reporting?
McLaughlin. This is Trisha McLaughlin. She's the fucking spokesperson.
DHS.
She's like yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I would trust reporting over her to be. This has happened before. I mean, we've had administration officials come out and deny public reporting on something and then ended up being true. So
Okay.
Well, it's also she's playing games there. She's like he's not relieved of his duties.
Nobody's
claiming
It's a
he's
word game.
relieved of his duties. He might have lost this part of it, but that's it.
it's like the
It's like he's being
equivalent
sidelined with an idea to like eventually retire soon or something. Yeah.
yeah, it's like sending a party member to fucking Siberia and Soviet Russia. Or something.
Right. There's still.
It's like
they're
remember
still in the position.
in Game of Thrones where Tyrion sends Jaina Slint to the wall. And, not exactly like that, but, you can start to think of some parodies. Listen, it's all word game. It's all whatever. It's meaningless no matter what. Who cares if Bovino is at the head or not? The problem is Trump. The problem is Trump and Noam and the principles there. That's what, and the policy.
Well,
So no one should,
disagrees.
yeah, I know. I agree with that. I'm saying it's a good optics thing for us to be like, wow, you guys are losers. Even I'm doing this, like the L against these loser MAGA people who are like, oh my God, not Bovino. But
It shouldn't
I
end
think
there.
it's
It shouldn't end there.
don't
Is what
rest on
you're
your
saying.
laurels. Yeah. Don't rest on your laurels.
It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning,
Yeah.
but I think it's a good sign of what's to come. Also, Trump was praising Tim Walz today. That's a total different tune. He talked to him on the phone and said, we're on the same wavelength now. That's a huge difference.
What did Tim Walz possibly say? Like, what trophy did he give him? What praise could he have said to make Trump completely flop on? Don't forget, he ran as the VP in opposition to him, talking about, tampon Tim, he's awful. Like, the Mamdani almost made sense because Trump didn't have the precedent to hate him before. But Waltz, I can't believe he's saying even a modicum of a nice thing to him. Like, I need to know what was said in that call.
I wouldn't be surprised if he called Mamdani and asked for advice. I'm not even kidding. I'm sure he just flattered him a little bit.
Trump?
No, Walz.
Trump's a pussy, dude.
Walz.
You get him on the phone,
Yeah.
he seems to back down. Just like in Europe.
This isn't
last
the
week
first
with
time, yeah.
Greenland.
And it's not the first time to sort of back what IRI is saying. If you guys remember the George Floyd stuff, he specifically praised Walz's performance there, right? I'm pretty sure he said, he's doing a great job with what's going on in Minnesota and the protests. And so I don't think that we should take what he's saying right now as if there's going to be a massive shift in policy. I think that what's happening is he can read a little bit the room, and he knows the shoot was a bad shoot and he's losing on it. And so that should be a signal of weakness, and everyone should smell blood in the water and take advantage of it.
Ryan Getty. Where's Ryan Getty? He's in somebody's chat.
Oh, he's in my chat. Why?
I watched your recent video on Gavin Newsom, bro. That was good, man. He makes good videos, man. Everybody should subscribe to Ryan. It's good. Check it out.
Good shout
I was gonna say, you said he sees the blood in the water, reads the writing on the wall. I can't believe Tim Pool came out and said this is a bad shoot. Although now he's reposting videos of AI upscaled, images that make it look like the guy might have a gun in his hand so that it's justified. But for a brief second there, Tim Pool couldn't grift hard enough to say, "Hey, this is okay."
It was a funky statement, though. Soy. I agree that it was maybe surprising that he would say it, but it was couched in ambiguity and not 100%. It's
sure. I mean, he's still doing the fence.
He said Trump's not going to win this one. As though this were. Did we lose IRI?
Oh
shit.
He said, "Fuck
But,
Bisco, I'm out."
He says shit
No, he
talking.
didn't, did he?
He did.
He's
I heard
Tim
him say
Pool's
it.
biggest
shit.
stan, and he can't
My
believe
heart.
we're shit talking him right now.
My heart. No. I
He just
think
left as
that,
soon as you said something. Did you see that? It happened
wait,
again.
what the fuck?
You start talking, he bounced.
You're
I
fucking
didn't do
with me.
anything.
You're fucking with me.
Hands up.
Hands up.
no.
Don't shoot.
Hey, speaking of which, how do you guys feel about Hassan saying that Democrats were actually just as bad because Michael Brown was shot when Obama was president?
He's right.
Isabel?
Thoughts?
100% right.
Isabel?
I did not see that.
Can we talk about that for a little bit? The
Cringe.
drama, Hutch, and I want Nonfon's opinion about this too.
What
This is the
drama?
criticism from the drama, Hutch. This is the
Which
elephant in
one?
the room.
Be more specific. There's about like the 15
There's drama.
different. Yeah, go ahead.
Here are as I understand them, the accusations from both sides. Accusation against Hutch, we'll start with that one, is Hutch spends too much time shitting on lefties who are going after Trump. That's the accusation. And then the accusation from Hutch is you guys don't actually
Lefties
care
that are
about
going
any of
after Trump. Wait. No, hang on. Rephrase that. That's not true.
that's the accusation. No, you can deny it. I'm just saying that's the accusation.
No. How did you phrase that though? Did you say lefties that are going
That
after
Hutch
Trump?
spends too much time going after lefties who are attacking Trump.
What?
That's
Who are
you never heard
attacking
this?
Trump? Who are
You never heard
attacking-
people say this, Stevie?
I've
Yes.
heard the
Okay,
Hutch is
hang on,
going
hang
after the
on.
lefties so
Attacking
much, but these lefties are
Yeah.
not attacking Trump very much. So I don't know about that part.
What you don't think? Hang on. You don't think people are claiming that what Hutch's Hutch's criticism is counterproductive to the goals of
Sure.
stopping Trump?
The last part, they are attacking Trump is the part we disagree with. I don't think these lefties go after Trump very much
You
at
can
all.
disagree. You can disagree with whether the accusation is true.
Okay,
But do you
I think
that-
I understand what you're saying. You're saying that they're saying that why are you attacking Hassan? He's spending all this time going after Trump. Why are you attacking
Yeah.
but-
Are you denying that you're accused of that?
I understand the way that you phrase it in that way. I would take issue with the premise because if this was just a lefty going after Trump, what fucking issue do I have with that? The only time I go after lefties is when I feel like they're helping Republicans and Trump.
Yeah, you can fight the accusation, but the accusation is being made. That's all I'm saying, right?
That's
Or do you deny that people are?
I just find it disingenuous framing. That's all. Like you're attacking lefties that are
you
going
can.
after
I'm just.
Trump. I'm not attacking.
Do you
lefties
think that people are accusing you of that? I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just saying, do you think people accuse you of that?
I mean, it's.
I think
bullshit, but
in
sure.
general, the
Yeah.
accusations are generally Hutch punches left more than he punches right. That is in general. It has little
Right,
to do with
but
what
the obvious implication of that is it's counterproductive towards the threat of Trump and fascism. That's their point. What do you say? Sure, like that. That's the fucking accusation. You can just say it's not true.
No, but not if it's not counterproductive if you hold the view that I do, which is that these lefties are helping MAGA.
I know you disagree with the accusation.
Yeah,
I'm just laying out that is the accusation.
Okay, wait.
Right?
Okay.
Or is that
All
a
right.
problem?
While Hutch is on the hot seat, we got a super chatter says, do you see trolley problems all the way down, and do you know about the horizon effect or the disadvantages of greedy algorithms?
Nope.
I guess he
Fuck's
doesn't.
this
You're gonna
guy
have to.
talking about?
What is he saying?
I know what a greedy algorithm is in terms of software engineering. It's like a way to. It's hard to explain. It doesn't matter. The point is, maybe this has something to do with often Hutch, you will put everything into a dichotomy. It's like we either do this or this, and one is utilitarianly better. And maybe there's some disadvantage to doing this all the way down, but maybe he can elucidate in a different chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's
I
the
think
accusation
Hutch is
against
worried-
you.
Hutch is worried about our brothers to the left who are lost, and he's just trying to reach out to them and
Mm-mm.
with an olive branch. That's all, and trying to bring them back to the flock. That's what I think.
Mm-mm. No.
So respond to it.
As I said, my view of things is that I think if Hassan stopped covering politics tomorrow, and the same goes for Kyle Kulinski, frankly, I think that would net votes for Democrats. So
Kyle
I think that my view of them, now we can debate that. That's fine. We can have a good faith debate and we can get into the minutia about that. But that's what I believe. And so when I go after these lefties, for example, Sean the Black, this guy, he posted a tweet. The Democrats said something like, ICE are bad, or I don't know what they said. And then he quote retweeted them and said, you voted to fund this. First of all, the Democrats, not a single Democrat voted for the One Big Beautiful Bill, which is what added all that extra
Jared Golden
funding
did.
and created it and created
I think Jared Golden did. Yeah.
I don't think he voted for the One Big Beautiful Bill. Could be wrong about that. So first of all, he's just wrong on the facts.
Maybe
But
I'm
second
wrong.
of all,
I'll check.
second of
No
all,
way he voted for that.
if you do a cursory search of Sean the Black's tweets, you'll see that he did not vote for
Oh, never
Kamala
mind.
Harris.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Sorry.
So, get fucked. If you're going to spend your time on social media actively trying to tear down the Democratic Party candidate, you are actively helping Republicans win elections. You are complicit in 14 million projected dead from USAID cuts. the two people in Minneapolis would still be alive if people like you made better decisions, and they're going to keep doing it. And so like they act like opposition. And then when I treat them like opposition, the way that they behave, the way that they market themselves, they want to clutch their pearls and tell me that I'm being mean and counterproductive. Excuse me. My whole brand is I fucking hate Republicans, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to convince people to support every Democrat on every ticket for the rest of their lives. That's my entire fucking brand, bro. So if you're going to accuse me of being complicit in fascism when you are literally the reason why those people are dead in Minneapolis, you can get fucked. That's my position on that.
Can I steal? Well, I need to jump in real quick here, because even though I mostly almost 100% agree with Hutch, you're the reason they're dead, I think, is like the most inflammatory part of that. Because yeah, sure, they didn't help. They actively are hurting and driving voter apathy, but it's Trump and the admin is the reason they're dead.
Did you vote for Kamala Harris? No? Then you are part of the reason why those people are dead. You
can assign a hierarchy of blame, right? Like, are we going to blame leftists if Trump does a fascism? Like, no, it's Trump, right? Like, Republicans aren't just a force of nature. There are people actively making decisions that we should call out. And to say that, go ahead.
It's too attenuated is the point that's being made.
Are voters not responsible for the outcomes of elections?
Sure, of course.
Okay, then they are partly. Then stop holding these people's hands. They are part of the reason why those two people are dead.
Who's holding their hands? Who's holding their hands?
This is when people frame it like, I don't know. I know you guys aren't doing it, but I like the pushback I get a lot is like, well, what choice did they have given Kamala's position on Gaza? It's like, what do you mean? What choice did they have? They decided to not vote for Kamala Harris. They knew what Donald Trump was telegraphing 1,000 miles away. They evaluated the risk, and at best, they were indifferent to Trump winning and the consequences thereafter.
I want to hear Nonfon's response, and I want to say something to you, Hutch.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hutch is valid for going after lefties just because lefties have bad policy. Okay, that's my opinion. But I mean, I think like I will say it's not clear to me whether or not Hassan would net Democratic votes if he quit streaming. That's not clear to me. But like I do like I think you should vote based on who has the highest expected value, essentially. And insofar as Hutch is advocating for that and condemning people who don't do that, and I think that's, you know, voting based on expected value is what the trolley problem thing was insinuating earlier. I support Hutch's movement in doing that.
That's good. Well, listen, Hutch, I want to take what you just said though. On the hypocrisy stuff, no doubt. But aren't you analyzing two different actions, which is your action justified in virtue of what the political conditions are, and is their vote justified? And one could come to the conclusion, and I'm not saying it's my conclusion, let me be clear, that both them, in withholding their vote and shitting on Kamala, did something wrong, but also you did, and that wouldn't be inconsistent. And just saying, well, you guys are worse, that's not responsive to, is what I'm doing helpful?
I don't know if I said they're worse than MAGA, but mathematically they're the same. They had the same impact as a MAGA voter.
Do you understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is my argument right now is that's not responsive to the claim. The claim is you're hurting the fight against Trump.
I disagree.
By attacking lefties. Right? No, but all I'm saying is your response, well, you guys didn't vote for Kamala, isn't responsive to that claim. Is it? It's like you're a hypocrite for even accusing me. How dare you accuse me?
You can judge me by my actions. I have always, as soon as I started covering politics on all of my channels, I have always taken the position of, you guys, the Republican Party are getting worse and worse and worse. This is really bad. We are well beyond Obama versus fucking Mitt Romney in 2012. They cannot be allowed to have power. And I don't care how you feel about the Democratic Party. If you want to join this movement and stop them from doing these awful things, straight ticket Democrat, blue no matter who, you ignore people that call you a shill. Do you want this to stop? Then join this movement or be someone that helps Republicans win elections. Those are this is a binary choice. But
the question is shitting on Kyle Kalinske so the question is shitting on Kyle Kalinske helping Republicans win elections?
Pisco, what do you think of the fact that Kyle Kalinske said on his YouTube channel last week that Gavin Newsom vetoed a single-payer healthcare bill in California. That
I
did
don't know
not
if that's
happen.
true. Okay,
It's
if it
not
happened, I
true.
can name that.
He said that. And do you know why I think that's bad? What is, before Israel Palestine, what is the number one issue that Kyle Kalinske and his group of people focused on?
Medicare
Corruption,
Yes.
Trump.
Yeah.
Medicare for all, right? So what is he telling you? It goes beyond just it being a false claim. He is telling his audience that Gavin Newsom committed a mortal sin according to their priorities
But
in
Hutch,
politics for the last 10 years.
Kyle
Now-
would tell people to go out and vote for Gavin if he was in the general. I don't
You
think
are delusional.
You
if you
wouldn't?
think
Really?
you are delusional if you think you guys listen. I will believe it when I see it. Okay, he
did
told
he,
just
but did he do that for Kamala?
no.
I'm pretty sure he
did
said
not. I don't. No, I don't. I do not believe that he endorsed Kamala Harris. Absolutely, he endorsed Jill Stein. You guys.
No, that was previous year. That was previous.
No,
That was
in
previous
May,
year.
In May of 2024, he endorsed
Oh.
Jill Stein. My friend.
Really?
He was up,
Yes.
he was on for
Really?
Marianne
I didn't-
too, right?
Yes,
He
and
loved
they were hyping
Marianne.
up Marianne Williamson. He says that he's
In the
changing his
primary, or
tune.
in the primary, or in the
in the general, bro. In the
What
general.
primary.
In the general, he said he endorsed, he had her on his program and endorsed Jill Stein. That's what he did after 4 years of Donald Trump. So I'm sorry. He says he'd support Joe Manchin if he was the nominee in 2028. I will fucking believe it when I see it because I am not taking him at his word. I don't know why anybody.
I'm seeing
would
some
trust-
evidence he didn't. Okay, but if he does, so you think it's possible that he won't endorse the Democratic nominee if it's Gavin Newsom, right?
Absolutely.
It's in
I- so
People-
I-
Yeah, it's in his DNA to attack the Democratic establishment candidate. Someone like Gavin's going to be piss him off. But listen, I applaud Hutch for trying to help our brethren to the left who are far gone. But 90% of them end up voting for Democrats, so I'm not even worried about it. But I think Hutch does it because he enjoys it, fighting with them.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But there's almost 100
I-
million people, almost 100 million that didn't
IRA
vote.
is correct. IRA is correct.
I focus my attacks on people with platforms, with people in positions of influence. It's true I argue with random people on Twitter, but in terms of like what I prioritize, if you have a platform and you're using that platform to obfuscate, speaking of which, Pisco, the Vanguard boys, they said some very questionable shit in your conversation. They're a part of this as well. They're a part of this as well. They said that Josh Shapiro covered up a murder, bro. You understand that
we're gonna talk about that. I know they said that.
But
we're gonna talk about it. We're scheduling
all,
conversation.
all it takes to debunk that fucking lunacy is like a cursory Google search, bro.
No,
These
okay,
people are
but
lazy,
Hutch,
destructive arsonists.
Hutch.
Okay.
So
Hutch,
the
he
question,
can't stab himself
Hutch,
30
the question is, by you spending your time attacking Kyle Kalinske, attacking Crystal Ball, and attacking the Vanguard, do you think that is maximizing your ability to stop fascism? That's the question.
Yep, I do.
The answer is yes, because you think by attacking Kyle Kalinske, it's going to do what? In virtue of what?
I want to peel as many people away from that lunacy as I possibly can. That will net us votes and that will increase. You can have your people like Brian Tyler Cohen and Josiah that focus 100% of their attacks on Republicans. That's fine. What is wrong with me? Like the fact that you take issue with me calling them out and not the fact that Kyle Kalinske is telling, how many fucking views does that video have? 250,000 views. And he's telling his audience that Gavin Newsom vetoed single payer in California. It's
Here's
just
the
not
difference.
true.
Here's the difference. I think
destructive.
here's the
That is
difference. I think
destructive.
here's the difference. I think on net, Kyle Kalinske is a benefit to our effort to stop Trump. Whether or not a particular video I would think is bad doesn't
agree
really
on that.
bear on that.
I don't
you
agree.
don't-
with you. No,
Wait,
I
let,
don't.
let Guy in.
No.
Guy's been rolled over a couple times.
I don't know. I mean, I agree. I think Kyle will come through in the end, but I don't have a problem with what Hutch does at all. I would never engage with the leftists. To me, it's more about like their lives suck, and so they're looking for something to blame, a boogeyman like capitalism or whatever, the establishment. So you're not going to get through to them unless you just put some change in their pocket and give them something to look forward to. But I think the bigger picture for me is the almost 100 million who didn't even vote in the election. I'd rather go after them. They seem a lot easier to win over than somebody who's some ogre boy weirdo who's got their heels dug in and, just wants to suck on Hassan's knob. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
all right, to
why even
Hutch's
bother?
point there, I agree. We need to capitalize on that. But I think what these lefties do is promote voter apathy by saying both parties are the same. Like if you come out and say, "Hey, I know this is awful and people are getting shot by ICE," but remember Ferguson, like
But
ignoring
Kyle
the fact
doesn't
that, like,
do that. But
well,
Kyle does not
I'm
do
not talking
that.
about Kyle right now. This is but I'm
Pisco,
putting this on video. But it's like the idea that somehow you can compare the executive branch putting a department into a place that's causing this chaos and incompetence with state police is insane. It's just not at all these same things. And there's like all the like Hutch said, these cursory Google searches of just how these things work immediately dispel them. And if you're able to lie with basically impunity, like if people like Hutch didn't call it out, then you do just drive this insane, like, nothing's ever going to change. We just need to wait for the revolution. We got to firebomb the Walmart, and it never comes. And then fascists take power. Like it is important.
You're pressing me harder than you press Vanguard after they accused David Pakman.
Oh my God. Get over yourself. What the fuck?
This is actually true, bro. You are pressing
Jesus
me.
Christ.
Let me finish what I had to
How
say.
am I pressing you? How am I pressing
You
you?
are
What's the
accusing me.
pressing?
You are accusing me of wasting my time and going after people who
I'm asking a question.
And you're pressing me harder than Vanguard when they accuse
I'm
David
not pressing
Pakman
shit.
of being paid to celebrate genocide, is what they said.
I'm not.
They said that
I'm
got
not
paid to celebrate genocide, and you did
So
not.
first of all, you're factually wrong. I did contest that claim. Hutch, will you retract the claim? Will you retract the claim that I didn't contest the ideological connection between Chorus? In fact, I brought up Chorus in the first instance. Will you retract? Will you retract? Will you take the moment? Hutch, will you take the moment right now to retract your claim that I didn't contest the fact that there's an ideological imposition?
I said you're pressing me harder than you press them.
How am I pressing you? How am I pressing you?
Now you're doing administration.
How am I pressing you? I'm asking.
You're not pressing me here. You're not pressing me on this?
By asking you whether or not you think, just elucidating the view that Kyle Kulinski is net bad for the Democrats. Just asking that question is pressing you.
You say stuff like Kyle Kulinski, he doesn't do that. What do you mean he doesn't do that? In 2016,
that's pressing you.
Hold on. In 2016, he was Bernie or bust. In 2020, he was on election night on Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan asked him who he voted for. He said, "Nobody. I don't vote for war criminals." Okay. After 4 years of Trump, he said that. In 2024, he endorsed Jill fucking Stein. And you want me to give him credit for kind of going after MAGA kind of hard when it's like in vogue right now? What was he doing?
I'm saying since the new administration,
Democrats.
So first of all, the claim is I'm pressing you and I'm treating you so horribly.
I don't mind
like
if
you're like, oh my God, I'm being so mean to you right now.
Why didn't you ask them? Don't you think you're hurting the Democratic Party by saying stuff like
the first topic of our entire the first topic genocide? The first topic was entirely monopolized by the quote unquote elephant in the room about whether or not they're willing to support and endorse Democrats. The end of the conversation, they say, we are going to endorse the Democrats.
Yeah, after
they have views of genocide,
covering up a murder, and like Gavin Newsom killing babies or whatever.
Which immediately I said, I don't agree. Let's have a conversation about that at a later time. But I'm now being mean to you. I don't understand that. Like, I went through the whole virtue signal. I went through the whole virtue signal thing with the Vanguard.
You're not hurting my feelings. I like these exchanges. I don't mind them, and we can move on after this. But like,
and Pisco, I do expect I love Hutch, but just to be clear, he's just saying,
I do love Hutch.
It seems like you're diving more deeply into the ideology that Hutch is doing, and I don't think you're being mean, but
give me a break.
What are you talking about? I don't know. I didn't watch your Vanguard thing, but it seems like you didn't ask even follow-up questions or kind of like stay on these topics with them. Is that kind of what you're saying, Hutch? Is that it?
No,
you could have gone harder. You could have gone harder.
Wait, so the critique, as I understand it, not that Pisco agrees with it, just the one he raised is that like Hutch attacking the lefties is like negative expected value, but in with regard to Democrats winning, but like,
I didn't even assert that. I'm just wondering whether or not he agrees with the. I didn't even assert. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, this is the. So we're having a. I don't think he crashed out. Okay, cool.
No, he didn't. It did that.
Yeah, something's happening. Yeah. There was a topic that was going to be introduced about lefties and about Hassan, and I'm like, this is the accusation. I want to hear what you have to respond. And then Hutch said, I actually think it would be better off for Democrats if these people weren't like influenced in stuff. That's something I disagree with, and I'm just disagreeing with it as IRI is, and I just don't think that is like pressing Hutch in a way that I like didn't press Vanguard. I just think I'm just like I don't agree, and I certainly said I don't agree with the Vanguard with stuff they said.
Listen, I'll be fair, and I'll say, because I told my chat, I was like, listen, you're not always going to take the same tone. Sometimes if you're having some conversations on some platforms, it makes sense to take a different tone. And so like I really was balancing that. Like I understand that that's probably what you were doing in that spot. And so maybe there's value there. But there was another part of me too that watched that conversation, and there were a few moments where I would have pushed back like way fucking harder. Like the fact that they accused David Pakman of being paid to celebrate genocide. And then you actually, to your credit, you actually said, wait, hold on. And you called him out on that. And then he immediately 180'd. That fucking Gavin idiot immediately 180'd and said, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
he said it literally 5 seconds before.
Well, I think, I think that was a weak claim.
Like, I'm just asking you, like, who do you think is doing more damage to Democratic Party prospects? Me for focusing on lefties that I think are way out of their, like, completely untethered from reality and their quote unquote like criticisms of Democrats. It's not a criticism to say that Josh Shapiro covered up a murder.
I don't think you're doing much damage at all, Hutch.
That is smearing a Democratic Party.
I don't think you're doing. If you're asking my opinion, Hutch, I don't think you're doing much damage at all. I think if any, the only criticism that maybe could be levied at you is like an opportunity cost of like what is a better use of your time. But I don't think you're doing any damage.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you give them too much credit, man. Like these people don't have that much influence, man. I'm telling you, it's you might maybe disagree with me, but like the Vanguard boys and Kyle Kalinske are not determining the election, man.
Kyle Kalinske gets like 40 million views a month.
It doesn't matter.
Shitting on Trump. Shitting on Trump.
Excuse
me. Put in a spotlight on Trump's like horrible shit. And this is one of the reasons why like
I just told you that Kyle Kalinske told his audience last week that Gavin Newsom vetoed single payer in California. Almost any time he talks about Democrats, it's in a negative context. Almost any time, bro.
He and Crystal did endorse Jill Stein in May of 2024, which is I didn't know this, and I guess I retract my statement of I don't think Kyle would do that. That's insane that they did.
I didn't make that shit up. He does it every time, and so I'm sorry. I don't believe him when he says he'll fucking support the nominee. If it's Newsom, no. He's like he's going to shift the poll. He's going to shift the goalpost and be like, you know what? It's no longer Trump, so the stakes aren't as high. That's what he's going to do. It's so fucking predictable.
Yeah, so like I am totally go ahead.
Well, I just say I think these third-party voters, they're never going to vote for Democrats. Same thing with on the right, they have these libertarian weirdos that will never vote for Republicans either. That's all.
I
was going to say,
think you have any
go for it.
Yeah, sure. This is somewhat a different topic. Any obligation to like actually fight the lefties on policy issues? Like when I talk to more lefty people, it's almost always about my issues with the actual policies, instead of like just trying to get them to vote for Democrats, even though maybe I should be getting them to vote for Democrats.
I'm constantly fighting on policy with these people.
Is there a non-fighting way like that we could also like spend our time? Like this person brings up an interesting question. Like if we look at the things that we probably agree with, like you liked Mamdani, you endorsed Mamdani, and it's like, is there some of this stuff where we're not capitulating to their, I'm holding my vote out for a concession, but we're like, hey, is there some portion that we can bleed off of the Kyle Kalinskes or the Hassan voters where we say, oh, you know what, that's a good idea. Let's get some like Medicare reforms or let's do the XYZ. And we don't have to constantly be infighting, but we can still bleed off the ones who are like, otherwise would just be like, I'm not voting. They're not doing anything I want. Is that even something we can focus on?
I don't think there's a passive way to engage with like Hassan Piker a couple days ago was interviewed by, I don't even know, some like pro-Assad, like Syrian like news thing or whatever. And they asked him about, I don't know what they asked him about, but he said straight up, like, a lot of people think that Democrats are opposed to police brutality, but, Ferguson happened when Obama was president, which is a statement that is so fucking meaningless that it insults my intelligence. It happened when Obama was president. What the fuck does that have to do with Barack Obama? That was an issue of the local police department. And do you know what the Obama administration did? Eric Holder and the DOJ at the time investigated the Ferguson Police Department, and they forced a consent decree enforced by a judge to implement reforms at that police department. And do you know what the Trump administration did when they murdered 2 people in Minneapolis? They said the people were fucking terrorists and ICE agents. You have immunity. Go nuts. And Hassan's out here saying, like, a lot of people think Democrats are different on ICE.
No, wait, Hutch,
Yeah,
I agree with this
fucking
criticism
idiotic-
100%.
Didn't
But
I bring that
fucking
up in the
ridiculous.
Vanguard conversation? I'm pretty sure I brought that up.
I didn't
Or,
get through the whole
uh,
thing. I didn't get through the
I
whole
think
thing.
it was at near the beginning. One of the first things I brought up was the fact that he was doing this false equivalence bullshit with one of this interview shit. I was like, I get it. No, that's fucking stupid. It's wrong, and the false equivalence bullshit is pathetic. I just would distinguish someone like that from Kyle Kalinske. I think Kyle Kalinske and Vanguard, they don't do the false equivalence shit, and it's not just me who says that. Like, if my opinion doesn't mean anything, Josiah also says that. Do you think Josiah is wrong about that?
Yeah, I think you're both wrong. 100%.
Wait, Pisco. I mean, just addressing the fact we just showed the tweet where he's endorsing the Green Party in the year where
I know. Yes, I agree. That they had
not a false equivalency. If you're unwilling to endorse
100. No, the third party bullshit, and that's by the way, this is to the credit of the Vanguard over Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball in that moment, that they have always been against the third party grift, have always thought it's stupid, et cetera, et cetera.
That's not true, by the way.
Why are you rolling your eyes?
It's not true. That's not true.
So show me when did the Vanguard endorse the third party?
Look it up. There's a conversation that they had with Vosh, and Vosh had to walk them like babies through the logic of not voting for third party. It was early 2024. Vosh was the one that convinced them to stop fucking entertaining.
In 2024, they were shitting on the people who were organizing the third party
Look it
stuff.
up.
I saw them do it.
Man.
All right. I mean,
they shifted. I'm just saying, but they were not always opposed to third party shit. That's just not true.
I have seen them call out the third party bullshit, but
you can go look at it. But I want to go back to my question because I truly want to know if this is even viable and if this is something that like Hutch or any of us could spend more of our time on. Because as much as I am all for calling people out, like doing this, I agree with your criticism 100%. Is there not, like, IRI has this mentality, I like it, where it's just like, we're coalescing the Democrat period, the left period against the forces of evil. I don't give a fuck. We're doing whatever we can to win. And I respect that to a degree. Is there not a way to capitalize and almost undermine the message that the parties are the same by stealing some of the best ideas from the left-wing politicians who are winning?
Don't you think that people can, don't you
The
think
best
that
ideas, yes, not the
don't you
bad
think
ones.
that different
why don't
people
you answer
can
the
wear
question?
Hang on. Don't you think that different people can wear different hats?
No, sure. I'm just saying, can't we do both? Like, we could wear two hats.
can.
I have several hats to wear. As you can see.
Okay, if that's the case, then you should criticize. You should criticize David Pakman or mostly David Pakman and Josiah and Brian Tyler Cohen, who focus 100% on Trump stuff. They're wearing that hat. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That connects with their audience. They're good at that. They like diving into those things. That's their strength. Go for it.
Okay, well, the past the pundit phrase, just the Democratic Party. Is there ways that we can undermine this movement without criticism? Like, of course, I think people were like, yeah, if you go and disavow Hassan at the DNC, like that'll really get more voters. What about taking some of the best parts of what Mamdani did and integrating that into the left-wing party and saying, hey, people,
Mamdani is nothing like these fucking idiots. Mamdani is actually smart. Mamdani is actually smart. He's actually a smart guy. That's why he doesn't do this stupid shit.
Right.
That's why I like Mamdani, because he's a Democrat. He's a proud Democrat.
You tell me, how do I civilly engage with someone who accuses Josh Shapiro of covering up a murder?
What's
a nice way of engaging?
Do you civilly engage? Do you civilly engage with counterpoints?
I rarely talk to counterpoints. I don't know the last time I talked to him.
Would you? So you don't civilly engage with people who say absurd shit sometimes?
No, I don't generally.
I don't understand this. Like fucking purity testing.
It
reminds me of lefty shit. It sounds like purity testing. Like, yeah, they could be totally out to sea on the Josh Shapiro shit and on accusations. They also, in the course of our conversation, accused Kamala of engaging in a genocide. But
what's the nice way of engaging?
Whether or not you want to stop Trump, not like, hey, do you have this one policy I want or not? It's not a single issue voter. If the single issue is, are you going to vote? Like, right? Like, it's the complete opposite.
So I don't even understand the question. Can you repeat it one more time? Sorry.
Well, you're saying it reminds you of purity testing of the left, but purity testing of the left comes from, well, I like XYZ, blah, 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 but they're not for single player. I'm not going to vote for them, which is what we're opposed to. And their Hutch's purity testing is.
Oh, so what's the analog? What's the analog? Okay. So no, the purity test is, how do I even engage with someone who thinks Josh Shapiro covered up a murder? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, how do you engage with anybody? civilly engage with someone like
yeah, that soy pill
I
is saying,
civilly
can't we be nice
IRI
to
is a
them?
perfect example. Guess what? IRI interacts with people who say absurd shit all the time, engages with them. We engage on some of the Epstein stuff. Like, there are people whose allegations on some of the Epstein stuff go way past what the evidence shows so far. And they're like, I think that it's been established that it's been a grand conspiracy and Israel's actually covering it up, blah, blah, blah. I still engage with those people, even if they have some absurd opinions. Guess what? It's called America. And so I don't understand why you couldn't. I don't understand why you couldn't civilly engage with someone who thinks Josh Shapiro covered up a murder. Actually, I don't know what the basis of that is.
What if the people that you're engaging with are liars? What if they lie?
What's the lie? What's the lie?
I'm glad you asked. So the Vanguard, for example, in your conversation with them, they said, no, we disavow the crazies, the ones that say voted third party, like we didn't like voting for Kamala, but I get in my, I call them out all the time and my audience calls me
What's the lie? What's the lie? What's the statement? It's a lie.
If you go to their Twitter feed right now, what is the first thing you see on the top of their feed? That is them retweeting Sean the Black, who is one of those guys who did that shit.
What is the lie?
They position
I've retweeted Trump supporters before. I've retweeted Trump supporters before.
In the conversation with you, they said that they disavowed the fringe crazies who did the fucking anti-electoral stuff. That's clearly not true.
Not for who they are, but on those opinions, Hutch. Come on. What's the lie? You're saying, wait a second.
You to believe that these guys lie. Like they
are
bad.
What's the lie? What's the fucking lie, Hutch? Hey, identify the statement that's a lie.
They do not. Like,
what's the statement what is the statement that is a lie, Hutch?
I just told you.
They said they disavowed the third party bullshit. That doesn't mean I'll never retweet someone who did that.
Okay.
Wait. Don't just disengage. That's some cuck shit right now. Hang on. Don't just disengage with that.
I don't think these are honest actors.
Hang on.
Actors. They have not demonstrated
I'm just trying.
Honest actors.
So you can say that they have some lies in the past. I'm not saying they've never lied. I'm just saying at this moment you have not identified a false statement. Have you?
When they had the conversation,
have you identified one or not? Have you identified a false statement or not?
Pisco, let him respond.
You can act dishonestly. You can act dishonestly.
Weasel. What's the false statement?
You can act dishonestly without necessarily saying something that's dishonest. Does that make sense? In the conversation you guys were having about the Taylor Lorenz article with Chorus, right? They repeated like three things that were totally debunked within one day of that story being dropped. Okay. They could have made just a tiny bit of effort to follow up on what they claimed. They repeated the lie that Chorus creators had to go through Chorus to schedule any interview with a politician. This was totally debunked within 24 hours. So it gets to a point where if someone is so incurious, if someone is like not willing to make the tiniest amount of effort to actually look into the things that they're covering, and all they're pushing is the same fucking narrative bullshit every day, I call that dishonesty. I don't think they're honest actors. I don't know why we would spend even a second trying to court these people.
Why?
I think there's a lag.
What does that
mean? Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? I'm just testing it. Can you guys hear me or not?
We can hear you. There is a lag.
You're a little discombobulated, but it's fine.
Hang on, I'm gonna refresh 1 sec.
Okay.
Well, for
very heated, and right now one of the parties is not here. I do want to say this. We're having the Deem on to talk about this discussion next week, so I'm sure we'll get more into it, and it'll get even more loud and crazy and annoying.
And
is that better? Testing 1, 2, 3.
And
you're back. And
Vadim and
and Ogre Boy's coming on.
Ogre Boy's coming on Live and Learn.
And Vadim
wants it to be
it's gonna be awesome. What a great show. You guys should sub to the channel.
Oh my god.
But here, let's hear from our guest. What is your thoughts on this back and forth Nonfon?
Listen, I think this is why I like talking about policy, okay? Because I think you can discount a lot of the sort of both parties are the same and like the weird narrative shit, especially if it is true these people like just never look into stuff. Like if you can convince them that like single payer healthcare might not be like super great, that like some of these policies are just like kind of cringe, I think you can make them a lot more comfortable voting for Democrats. And I don't know if it's easier to convince them that these policies are bad than it is to like convince them to vote for Democrats because of the threat of Trump or whatever. But I think you need to be neolib pilled, Hutch, and I need to go in on Ogre Boy about the elasticity of investment to pharmaceutical companies' revenues.
Well, I want to bring up real quick. I do have to say, because the super chat has become elucidated to me with the horizon effect, the trolley problems. It's this idea that right now we were just presented with a dichotomy: either Hutch does this or not, or either Hutch goes super hard against them or not. And the horizon effect is in artificial intelligence. There's so many variables for it to look through, and so it can only narrow this down to like a very small sector and then look through these, where if you keep trolley probleming and narrowing everything down, you get super tunnel visioned on these are the only two options. And Nonfon just came in and said, well, what if we, have this like policy solution that actually convinces people to come over with, and so like, yeah, you can shit on them, but you can also do this. And both of these things are going to be aiding and growing our party and getting votes. So yeah.
But these people are not serious about policy. Let's just be clear. Like if you ask them, what would you have done in response to, let's say, like the massive influx at the border? Like put yourself in Biden's shoes. Like what is your policy solution to that? I shit you not. Every time I've asked that question, I've asked this question so many times. They say like Cinemarxism, for example. He's this like Twitch leftist. I had a conversation with him and I asked him, like, how do you like vet people coming into the country? Because you got to do that, right? He said his solution was to get rid of all border patrol. He's a prison abolitionist and a police abolitionist. He said, get rid of all CBP, get rid of all ICE. And what you do instead is you send a bunch of lawyers to go physically stand at the border. And then I guess migrants stand in a single file line, and then you just hand them papers and then they come into the country. That was literally what he said.
But those are policy positions. They're just not serious about getting it accomplished, because it's obviously way too absurd to actually do it. Like it's the same stuff of like, the ACA and stuff. Like they have a policy position on healthcare. It's just that they don't have any mechanism. They don't have any like serious thoughts about like how to actually do what they want, or like what the constraints were at the time, like when the ACA was passed, right? But they still have policy positions that you could convince them are stupid.
They don't.
Maybe.
I don't think you can convince them that it's stupid, but like they don't.
But you think you can convince them to vote for Democrats? Like significantly easier?
No. I my whole thing is like I just try to like be aggressive as possible with these people and make them look silly. That's like kind of what my whole thing is all about. Like that's how
and that will peel them off to vote for Democrats where they otherwise wouldn't.
Not them, but like hopefully people that watch them.
In the audience.
I get emails from people all the time from like saying they used to watch this or that person, and so I'm doing.
Well, I mean, listen, I got 6 emails that says Hutch was too aggressive. I'm a Hassan fanboy now.
I'm not watching Hassan. What I'm not sure about is the prescription, because I'll give you an example. I had a conversation the other day with Richard Hanania, and Hanania voted for Trump, and he was saying like crazy shit like, oh, don't worry about it, like fucking RFK won't have any position of any authority, and I wouldn't vote for him if they made him HHS secretary. I remember sitting in that election day stream, and he's like, yeah, there's no reason to think RFK will have he'll be sidelined and marginalized and that kind of thing. But that said, I had him on, and we spent all the time like assessing Trump shit and talking about like abuses of Trump, internet like interventions, and hashing that out. What is your prescription with respect to the conclusions you're drawing, Hutch? It's not that we don't interact with these people, but is it that we don't have polite conversations with them?
It depends. Like if your whole thing is constant Democratic Party, fuck the Democrats flowchart bullshit, and that's all you do, then I think the best thing to do in that spot for me, and I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but for me is to match that energy and to just really, I personally think that the flowchart shit is nuts. Like I think it's so thought terminating. I think it's so fucking stupid. And so I don't really make an effort to like hide my contempt when people demonstrate that kind of logic. And if you find that in your experience that you attract more bees with honey and that works for you, great. But I think that kind of rhetoric has just become so commonplace in online lefty populist brain rot spaces for so long. And I think there needs to be more people pushing back again. I'm not saying you have to, but I think there needs to be more pushback against it, because I think it has done a lot of harm. I think like the 2016 Democratic primaries, that event alone, and if you watch the Ryan Getty video, he gets into this, but like I've been saying this for years, like that event alone, I think has done so much damage. in terms of the discourse. So
The primary?
Yeah, the idea that Bernie Sanders was like robbed of the nomination in both 2016 and 2020, I think is really damaging. And I don't like people that spread that lie. I think it's destructive. I think it's harmful. I think people lose faith. They literally think the system is completely rigged against them, and it's because they don't ever stop and ask themselves, why did we lose that election? You know, why don't we do better with black voters? They don't ask that question. They're just like, it's just fucking rigged. Katie Porter, Cory Bush, Jamal Bowman, you know, like down the line. That's their whole thing. They will never win, they will never lose a primary and then come after the fact and say, here's where I think our campaign like didn't, you know, It's just like, oh, it was just robbed. They think that the Democratic Party, they think that the moderate wing, the establishment wing, should hand them power. Like they just want to skip the step of convincing voters. And they think they should, like they think that Pete and Amy, who were ideologically opposed to Bernie Sanders, they don't agree with his ideal governance. They thought Biden would have been a better candidate and a better president. But they think that Pete and Amy should have stayed in the race to artificially juice Bernie's numbers to like help him on Super Tuesday. How do you explain that? Like, what world do you live in? Do you think that the moderates are just going to give you power? No, convince voters. That's how you take the power. That's how you got to do it, right?
Is that a descriptive claim or a prescriptive claim? You're saying the way to get to power is X, Y, Z.
The way, if they want to control,
or are you coming some kind of normative assessment there?
The way, if the Bernie populist wing of the party is ever going to be in the driver's seat of the party, it's going to be after they convince enough voters to give them enough seats to have a majority in the party, and then they can have more influence to elect a House Speaker. They can have more influence to decide who is in the Democratic leadership, but they don't do that. They never fucking do that.
Again, I just think that they're talking past each other. Like in that context, their claim is one that they were cheated out of whatever, and I don't agree with that claim, especially not in 2020 for reasons. But you just saying, well, the way you win power is X, Y, Z doesn't seem responsive to the claim of we were fucked and cheated out of it. It just seems to be like talking about some sort of descriptive of how one gets power, as opposed to whether or not what was done in a given context is like somehow intolerable or bad.
Well, the claim is just not. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but the claim is just not true. The idea that it was rigged. I mean, Hillary Clinton got 3 million more votes, and
no, their claim is it's unfair, and you need to come with a claim is it's not unfair because, and not just the way you get power is X, Y, Z. It's one is a normative kind of like back and forth. It's not unfair versus it is fair, and the other is, well, this is descriptively how one gets power. I feel like you're just not responding to them. I agree with you on 2020, especially.
Fair, unfair. I really don't give a flying fuck about like any of like those kind of descriptors. It's just the truth that if the progressive populist wing is to ever be in a position where they're the leadership of the party, it will be because they convinced voters and not because Pete and Amy didn't deliberately stay in the race to essentially hand it to Bernie.
I think what Pico's saying is like, if you are talking to these people that are claiming fraud and rigging and unfair, and you just say that's not true, that's not going to do anything. Maybe if you like, you know, demonstrably show the facts of it, you'll bleed the people off who are watching and say, well, it looks like that's wrong. But
this is why I would respond. I would be like, it's not unfair in virtue of one of the expectations in a primary contest is that candidates are able to strategically and tactically withdraw, and that's part of the rules of the game. And if you're working within the rules of the game, there's nothing unfair about it in that sense. And there's never been a norm against like dropping out for purposes of, you know, making arrangements. That's part of everyone's expectation. Therefore, it's not unfair. But you just saying, well, how you win power is X, Y, Z. It doesn't surprise me that it doesn't stick with them, because I don't feel it's like it's addressing their claim of unfairness. It just feels like it's one is a normative claim and one is a descriptive one.
I mean, I just like the label fair or unfair. It's like if Bernie Sanders had built a coalition big enough to take on the moderate wing after they were inevitably coalesced around the strongest moderate candidate, then he would have been in the driver's seat. But he didn't do that. Is that fair or unfair? Like it's
that's their claim. Their claim is it's unfair.
Yeah, but it's your job as a candidate. So that's the job. If you want the job, you got to convince either plurality or a majority of voters to give you that position. Nobody's going to hand it to you. That's my point. Like the whole framing just drives me insane. Why? Like, do you guys ever hear people? They're like, well, we tried the moderate thing for like the last like fucking 50 years. Why doesn't the Democratic Party try the progressive thing? How many times have you guys heard this idiotic claim?
A lot.
That's not how this fucking works. In what universe are the, you know, the wing of the party that's in power? They're going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to hand you this. No, you do it by convincing voters.
Okay, but you're once again you're talking past them. Right. Like the claim isn't how one receives power. It's like it would be wise to do X strategy. It would be wise for us to choose this. And what you're saying is, well, haha, you can't win. This isn't really addressing their claim about the wisdom of a given approach.
I do think a lot of them also believe they already have convinced voters, and it's just like corporate Democrats and corporate interests and evil things.
I agree with right, but then it's like, okay, to the extent that they're making that claim, that is a descriptive claim, which you have to address and say something like, well, no, because X, Y, Z. Look at these analyses. You can see like the amount of money spent isn't really influencing. Whatever you want to say. That's the thing is, if their claim is something like the smart strategy would be, no, I'm not yelling. Sorry, my voice. Yeah, it's a lot of words exchanged today. If the claim is that Democrats should adopt a given strategy, and this would be better for Democrats, saying like, well, moderates aren't just going to hand it over, isn't responsive to the claim. It just
well, the framing is
them. Okay, wait. Can we put a pin on this for now, because we are going to do this way more, and Pisco is not going to be the stand-in for the left. We're going to have actual people who have these very disagreeable positions.
I agree with Hutch on this. That's what
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is like you're pretty much on our side in this debacle. So like it's almost like we're wasting all our arguments against people that mostly agree with each other.
Can I just say one thing real briefly? Last thing. I just want the last word on this. Okay, it's the framing that is just like poisoning the discourse. The framing is that there's this monolithic Democratic Party that's like a hive mind that make decisions through some kind of collective consciousness. And that is not what is happening. We live in a representative democracy. So if, for example, the voters in the districts of the Democrats who voted to pass that ICE bill, if they disapprove of those voters, they can primary them and vote them out. So like the way that you make decisions as a party is you forge consensus, and that consensus is going to look different depending on what type of candidates the voters themselves elect. So just stop treating the party like a hive mind and start treating it like what it is. It's a democratic institution. Well, that's it. I'm sorry.
I'm going to say the last thing now, and I want you to think about this for next week, because ultimately it sounds like at the end you're saying it's their responsibility to earn the votes, and I feel like that's what they're going to fire back at you when they don't vote for the general. But don't respond to that yet.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
To be honest, I didn't follow that. I'm sorry.
Well, you're saying, hey, like Bernie didn't win because he didn't get the votes. I agree with this, but it's like, okay, well, isn't it Kamala's duty to earn the vote of the progressives who feel like they're just?
And so it's her fault.
It is. I mean, sure, but like those voters who decided to not vote for Kamala, they made that decision. They are responsible for their decision. Kamala didn't force them to not vote for her. They chose that.
Do you give Kamala responsibility for not winning?
Kamala failed to build a winning coalition. There's no doubt about that. Kamala failed to build a winning coalition.
We have a whole show for this. Okay, all right. Do we talk about Greenland for like 10 seconds? I'm sure Nonfon.
Yes, we should. I want to hear Nonfon's opinion on Greenland.
Right, and just to recap, Greenland. All right, Trump threatens and says that Greenland's a necessity. There's nothing that can happen other than them capitulating to us, completely threaten all these tariffs and potentially troops on the ground, tank all the markets, and then declare victory when we get back to the same place, which is they said we could put bases there. Did I get that right? Does anyone have any contentions with that recap of what happened?
No, that's classic Trump strategy. That's the foreign policy.
I like that. Like I'm honestly not surprised. Like a lot of his trade deals are like kind of scaled down versions of that. Like, he'll announce some insane shit. He did it with Colombia, announcing like some insane 50% tariffs on Colombia early on for like literally no concession, just because him announcing that he got a deal can get like headlines. It is not that surprising to me. I'm a little, there's a little part of me that's upset that we didn't get some type of deal that like would have given Greenland like citizens like a lump sum of money or whatever, because that would have been a good natural experiment. That would have been a good
like 500K each too. Talk about a UBI. That's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wait, was it in exchange for Greenland?
No, in exchange for Greenland, he was like, let's pay every citizen and they become Americans. But you know what would have happened is he would have, put a bunch of military stuff there and he'd been like, well, each Jericho missile is worth this much money and we're paying you in protection, right? Like that's what would have happened eventually.
That's exactly what would have happened. And because think about his healthcare plan. Then, speaking of healthcare and speaking about Affordable Care Act and single parent and all that stuff, Trump's plan that he announced, I think, was it $2,000 per person to spend on health insurance a year, which is vastly below what people usually spend. So I don't think you can trust it. But Nonfon in general, you would be okay with a consensual acquisition of Greenland, right?
I don't have a principled object in that. Wouldn't
it be cool?
Sufficient. I think Greenland is like a resource, probably more of a resource drain than it's worth. From my understanding, they get a lot of money and subsidies already from the Danish government.
Yeah, but it's like civilization. It costs a lot to build up the city a little bit, but eventually when you tech up, it's got the resources you need for those.
Well, Alaska's still a net drain on our treasury, right? So
so you give up Alaska? You think it was Seward's folly? You think it was Seward's folly? You believe that?
Wait, Pisco, I mean, I know this is a little bit of a meme, but the idea is the minerals and natural resources in Greenland will be not so difficult and expensive to mine once global warming happens and melts a lot of the ice. This is it's
a little cynical. I grant you it's a little cynical, and obviously I disagree with the policy to the extent that it's unconsensual. But I don't have a problem with acquisitions. I think that we should expand the franchise in America first. So I would be against any acquisition before we have Puerto Rico and DC full franchise for these individuals. But in general, I don't have a problem with acquisitions. I just think that what Trump is doing is threatening the NATO alliance, and it's obviously insane, and it's fucking over our allies and friends and raising tensions needlessly. But yeah, no.
Speaking of which, should we show the letter he sent?
It is the most unhinged thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I know we always say this, but I was genuinely surprised by this. This was I cannot this is fine for a Trump tweet, but let me find this. What was the guy's name? The leader's Jonas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Is it just Store?
Jonas Store?
Yeah.
I don't know the fucking Danish.
I just say while you're looking that up, this is a huge L for Trump. He got lucky that this shooting happened over the weekend because everybody should be talking about this. This motherfucker said we must have Greenland. There is no way our national security can survive without it. Then he said they need to sell it to us. And then he proposed the tariffs and he just backed down. I don't know what they did. They must have had an envelope with Epstein Island photos and him banging or something, because he completely changed his tune. He didn't even have a plan. He didn't know what happened. He said, we have concepts of a plan that'll come out soon. So he loves revealing big things. And so he had no idea what even happened. So I don't know what went in that room, but those Europeans fucked him up.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
I've got the text letter here. Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. And why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, but we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding.
Oh my God.
That sentence triggered the fuck out of me. And now NATO should do something for you, the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President TG Day.
It's so unhinged.
Got what he wanted. He got everything he wanted. I challenge you to say otherwise. Totally got it all.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing to establish peace? I got a text from my mom. She watched tonight and she said, good night, familia. Me voy a camita, which means I'm going to bed. A ver los Celtics, which means to watch the Celtics and listen to a podcast. Pisco is fighting with Hutch. Chill, everybody. Everybody chill. Besos. So she's sending her love.
Espero que tenga buena noche.
Oh, that's so
Aw.
cute.
Shout out to
I'm
Pisco's mom.
breaking the piece a little bit because
Oh
because
shit.
the tariffs reminded me of this. I was watching your stream the other day, Pisco. You told, I don't remember who you're talking to. You told someone that Chris Murphy and AOC were your
Hell yeah.
top picks. Okay. Chris Murphy, the anti-free trade dude. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Corruption's number one. I don't know why. Like, you know me, man. Anti-corruption, anti-Trumpism. That's number one. On the free trade stuff, like, yeah, I'm in favor of free trade on most of the time. That's where I'm at. I'm not interested in policies that are gonna fuck us over, but I'm willing to tolerate some policy. First of all, I think that it's useful to have some tariffs in some industries for some domestic security purposes, etc. Some domestic production goals. I don't think that they should be like what Trump is doing. But also beyond that, it's just like it's a trade-off that I think is worth it. I don't care. What I want most of all is destroying the MAGA corruption that has embedded itself in the government. And that's number one. It's going to go first.
Yeah, Nonfon, why are you purity testing Democrats right now?
I just think that, you should
Busted.
vote again, even in a primary, for who has the highest expected value. And I think free trade is a good policy. And insofar as other Democrats offer the same or similar anti-corruption stances, which I think many of them do, unless Chris Murphy has done some unhinged shit that I don't know about, being anti-free trade, at least to some extent, he's not like entirely anti-free trade or anything, not like Trump, like that. You should vote for.
If he's the best U.S. senator, I will die for Chris Murphy. I will die for Chris Murphy.
Nonfon, would you vote for AOC in the general election?
Of course, against who? Against any of the Republican nominees?
JD Vance.
JD Vance.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay,
Hell
that's all I want to hear.
Is there any Democrat you wouldn't vote for in the general?
Not in principle, no. I mean, I could imagine if AOC
out of the
was
ones we
running
know
up
about
against some like hypothetical Republican who is like incredibly moderate and somehow got the nominee. No,
Rubio.
John
no.
Kasich.
I don't know. I don't even know him.
That was before your time. You were just a wee little fawn.
Baby.
You were only 10 years
You
old.
were just a fawn, not an on.
You weren't even there for 9/11.
Mitt Romney comes back, runs for president.
Did you guys watch?
Nominee.
Did you guys watch the full?
Maybe.
But maybe.
Maybe Romney. Hutch, go ahead.
It would depend on the assumptions I make about like how much AOC got through and how much Romney would do.
Supreme Court picks. Supreme Court picks. Come on.
Yeah, me and Pisco we talked about this a little bit on Wick's show. I think the Supreme Court picks could be sufficient, but it's also maybe I'm weird for thinking this way, but there are things that just like scale up like quite a bit, like things like I've mentioned a few times, pharmaceutical innovation. Like I think doing single payer healthcare, like unironically, like would be like if it led to reduced pharmaceutical innovation, which I think it would, like that's like millions of like life years lost per year.
Well, can't the government just fund? Yeah, go for it.
Well, just from a totally stupid perspective, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but like Europe has done pretty well with innovation of therapeutics recently. I mean, what's the argument against? How does that factor into your argument?
So if you look at especially the novel drugs and like the specialty drug spending, a lot more of that happens in the US, and even for companies that are founded in Europe and like use European investor money, a lot of them are, still in the US market. In fact, like drugs made in Europe will get approved in the US first. Part of the reason we spend so much on drugs is because like, if you look at 2025, it's like 70% of the novel drugs and new fancy drugs were approved in the US before any other country. And that's a pretty consistent trend.
But is the life years of those fancy drugs, is that more than we would get from single payer and everyone being able to have consistent and good, effective healthcare?
Probably, yeah. I mean, so it might depend a little bit on what assumptions you make. But
I pressed you on this before, but like if I'm for giving everyone healthcare or letting old people live from 80 to 120, I say fuck those old people. I don't give a shit. But
I swear we hear
so it's just in principle though. So Pale, like there would be a number of people where like you could let die in order to give 20 extra years to a bunch of old people, right? Like there could be a scale at which that is worth it.
That Stacy woman.
Come on, so
she
so
had
Phil, you
the-
would let one child die, okay, for
I
a
don't think so.
million, over a million, 300
They're already
million.
old. They're already. What is the utility of being 80? That's what what's the expected
A
utility
lot
of
of
an
a lot of
80-year-old?
them are happy, bro.
Nah. I want that Star
I mean,
Trek
you could
universe
raise the
where when you get
retirement
to
age if
retirement
you wanted to
age,
do that
because
and make
there's
them
not enough
work.
resources, we just put them in the big suicide booth, and then you civilization keeps on churning. All right. I'm anti-old people. That's my political message. That's my winning political platform.
And
Old people suck.
The people who vote the most. Good shit. Hutch, what were you gonna say before?
Wait,
No,
hold
I
on.
was
real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
I want to address a piece of this point real quick. So just real quick
Sure.
with regards to the government funding thing. So for one, you're not going to save money in that case, or at least not much money. Part of the reason we want to negotiate drug prices now with single payer is so that we save money on drugs, and the government doesn't have to pay out the ass for drugs. But secondly, like I think you should be very specific in sort of what market failure you're identifying, and then you should have some model that addresses specifically that market failure. So if the issue is that you think firms are going to underinvest in pharmaceutical innovation, then do patents. And we already do patents. And I think I actually think Reagan partially screwed up patents and made it too easy to get like follow-up patents on non-novel medication. But patents address that issue, I think, way better than like a government-run system.
But how does single payer get rid of like the pharmaceutical industry? You could have single payer with the private pharmaceutical industry.
Sure, but you would agree, like insofar as you're negotiating prices down, that would reduce the revenue and the expected revenue of pharmaceutical companies, right?
Oh, sure. I mean, but then can't you have then the market failure would be, innovation for products that are, like rare diseases.
That wouldn't be a market failure. That'd be a government failure. That wouldn't be.
Or sorry,
in that case, that would be.
Well, no, a failure of the market that the government has regulated such that the market doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, whatever. If you want to call that a government failure, a market failure, I mean, I don't care about terminology, but then specifically the funding and the subsidies would go to shore up that issue, and the single payer is there to address the market failure of health insurance, which is a humongous market failure. Unless you think
so. I think like the exact problems will depend on your exact model for like giving or like doing pharmaceutical innovation with subsidies. So again, for one, you should identify the market failure that you want to fix and then like have a specific plan to fix it. I don't think that
I think the health insurance market failure is well known to people.
That's true for health insurance. Like,
healthcare is an inelastic good. This is a market for products.
I don't think that's sufficient. But it just so with regards to like.
But hey, I just want to recap why I think health. I think there's a lag. I'm not trying to interrupt you. So I think that health insurance is a market failure because they're highly inelastic products. B, the information is like fucked. There's a huge disparity in information. 3, it's a monopolistic set of actors who have disproportionate control over prices. These aren't like easily exchangeable, and again, low information issues there. And yeah, I mean, there's all the things of market failures with respect to health insurance. I can't imagine that you wouldn't concede that.
No, I agree that there definitely are market failures in health insurance. Technically, I don't think health insurance is particularly inelastic until we mandated it. There were a lot of uninsured people, but what I'm talking about right now, like pharmaceutical innovation.
No, that's not what inelastic is. Sorry, inelasticity refers to the inelasticity of demand. That has to do with whether or not sensitivities to the change in right, but just because there exists, I don't know what it was, like 5, 7, 8% uninsured, doesn't disprove that it's an inelastic demand for health insurance.
I think it's relatively inelastic, but I think in the context of healthcare, when people say it's a market failure because of inelasticity, they're referring to the fact that like people will pay whatever they want to like save their life, right? They're saying like it's essentially a perfectly inelastic good. With regards to health insurance, I mean, you have a variety of different plans that you can choose from. I agree there can be information asymmetries and consumers can make poor decisions. There's evidence for that. And you do have the choice to not buy health insurance. And a lot of young, healthy people, absent the sort of mandate to do it, would not buy health insurance, right? It wouldn't be enough
Hey,
to make it
the
actually
mandate
elastic.
is
It would
zero
be-
right now. Wait, no, there is no. The mandate is zero. I mean, the mandate was really just a tax penalty that Trump in 2018 made. There's no more. There's no more penalty. There's no more mandate.
I thought the tax penalty was still past 2018, but I guess I'm wrong there. I don't know.
It's zero. Yeah, it's zero.
Thought they got rid of
but
that
anyway,
with the
sure.
reconciliation bill.
Yeah, they did. They did. That was one of their big changes. I maybe it's possible Nonfon that they raised it back, but I doubt it. I think that the mandate is zero. That was the basis. Nonfon actually lead up to the 2020 election. Did you hear that like Trump was in court trying to invalidate the ACA? The basis of trying to invalidate it during COVID, right, in the lead up to election was to say, well, you sustained the ACA under Congress's taxing authority, and now we've reduced the penalty to $0. Therefore, is it still constitutional? But the response was, you don't have standing because since the penalty is $0, you haven't faced an injury, therefore you can't sue about it, which is pretty funny. But sorry, Hutch, you wanted to say something.
I don't know when this happened, but did we talk about the Gavin Newsom Ben Shapiro conversation?
No,
Josiah was pissed about it. I still haven't seen it.
Did he do another? Did he do another Bannon?
I mean, so it's an hour and 45 minutes. I watched the whole thing on stream. There was one moment in particular that I did not love. You guys probably saw the clips. There were two clips that were kind of making the rounds that people got pissed off about. One was about Israel, and we don't need to dive into that. But the other one was about ICE. And I guess the press office Twitter account had called ICE the Gestapo or terrorists or something like that. And Ben Shapiro called it out. And then Gavin Newsom walked it back. I think he could have been like, that was such a perfect opportunity to like change the conversation to one about like, what are you more upset about, the language or the people that died? Like he could have navigated that like a lot differently. But for an hour and 45 minutes, I don't know if you guys, everyone's like super familiar with Newsom, but like, he's a very sharp guy, and he definitely was like pushing back against Ben Shapiro's like MAGA talking points for the bulk of that conversation. And it kind of ties into like what we were talking about piece ago with like having a different kind of strategy depending on who you're talking to. I actually think that there's probably a lot of value in Newsom having a somewhat civil conversation with Ben Shapiro. Like, I don't think he needed to go like scorched earth nuclear. You know, that said, I do think he could have pushed back a little bit more on that one, but I saw those two clips making the rounds and everybody getting really pissed off about those two clips. And it was apparent to me that
Josiah was livid.
Well, it seems like I agree with him on one front, but like, I don't know what he said about the Israel thing, but like, it was apparent to me that very few people actually watch. I mean, it's a long, hour and 45 minutes, but a lot of people did not seem to watch that entire exchange. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, like, what do you guys think? Should Gavin Newsom go nuclear? When he's having a conversation with Ben Shapiro?
No, I mean, like, I think he should be forceful and angry. I want him to be angry.
Like, you need to laugh people like Ben Shapiro out of the room when he's talking about grading Trump on a curve and like rescinding every single principle he had in 2016. Like, there should be no world in which Ben Shapiro is on top in that conversation. It should be him constantly defending, apologizing, and being a servile little cuck for like an hour and a half. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm so through.
But Newsom was people. Newsom was definitely not like letting him off the hook for like the 98% of that conversation. I mean, he was definitely pushing back. And like, do you guys think that, do you guys agree that a lot of normies probably think of Ben Shapiro as like somewhat credible? And do you guys agree that you have to be somewhat tactical? Like, you have to be somewhat like, if there's value and potential value, like, what do you guys think is like, there's a lot of Americans right now that are just sick of the hyperpartisan, even though all of us probably agree that Republicans are the source of basically 99% of the country's problems. And you should be partisan in theory, in my opinion. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of people are in a place with politics where they really don't like the contentiousness. And so I do think you have to balance not looking like a lunatic with being assertive in those conversations.
Let me tell you the answer, Hutch, and kind of tongue in cheek, but I mean it. I want him to be meaner with Ben Shapiro than you think he should be mean with Hassan. That is my response to that. And I think that I want someone who's like angry and being like, wait, Ben, I just want to make sure that I understand you. Did you agree when they sent Kilmar Abrego Garcia to Sikot? What do you think about this? Like, totally unconstitutional.
He
Okay,
did those
then I'll have to
things.
watch it. I have to watch it. No,
He really did.
liberal
Yeah.
surrender hands. I'm surrendering. I surrender. Liberal surrender hands. I have to watch it. Josiah was upset about it, but I will watch it, and you're right about that.
Well, Josiah's a content machine. This guy makes like 15 videos a day. So I don't know if he had time to watch the entire exchange, but he was pushing back pretty assertively throughout that entire conversation. He, they chummed it up a little bit and they're like, oh, you went to this college and tell me about your background. Da, da, da. And I think a lot of people wanted it to be scorched earth the entire time, but I don't know. I'll put it this way. I think there's more value in being cordial in that spot than being cordial with black pill lefty.
Why is there more value there? Because I mean, like, if you're letting them and their talking points win over, this is like who said this? Destiny had a conversation with Ben Shapiro, and he's like constantly talking about how much he regrets treating these people with kid gloves and trying to appeal to the audience. And look, I'm reasonable. We can have a conversation and let these people just lie and like not be held to the points that they've been lying about for the past 10 years. Like,
well, he's in his demon mode phase, like I think he was more correct back then. And I think Destiny is very, very angry in the last like year. And I think that's like a big part of what guides his rhetoric.
I don't know. I'm leaning more towards the scorched earth stuff, or scorched earth, win no matter what stuff. And I don't think the just kind of playing nice with the people that have led to this rise through their deception is going to do that. I don't know how many Republicans are going to see that and say, well, at least Newsom's a little more reasonable. He's not hyper partisan. Now I'll go back on all the things that made me vote for Trump. Like, where does that get us, really? I don't know.
I see Shapiro and I see literal human scum. The guy is scum, and like it grosses me out to watch all these fucking demons walking among us, and basically it's absurd. Oh, don't try that shit on me, dude. You motherfucker. But no, like it's so it was so fucking gross to me that like we would treat these people more respectably than the fucking annoying as shit doomer pilled lefties. Like, on the one hand, do they fucking piss me off? Yeah. Do I debate like Prime Kai, who's like, I don't care if 30,000 Palestinians will be saved if I vote for Kamala. I'm still not doing it. Yes, that pisses me off. I think it's fucking stupid. But you're comparing it to the apologists for the fascist regime that's currently running roughshod over our rights and civil liberties and fucking everything up. And when I see that, it makes me sick to my stomach, man.
I think
when I would see it. Hopefully,
I think it's because I don't think there are any normies that are listening to Prime Kai's streams or Vanguard Pod or Kyle Kulinski. Like, I think everybody that's watching that kind of content is super, super partisan. Midas, what about Midas?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're saying the people who are watching Kulinski are super partisan?
Yeah. I don't think those are I don't think his audience are normies. I think he's, well, I could be wrong. Maybe I have
most people are normies is kind of the point. Like, I think my dad watches like Brian Tyler Cohen and Kyle Kulinski. He doesn't know who the fuck Hassan is. He doesn't know anything about online politics. It's very much just like, this is how I get my news. It's a little partisan, but like, these are like I imagine my dad is a normie. But
is your dad gay?
No, he's not. Otherwise, I would have said dad's Pisco. Clearly,
my dad watches this Josiah, and I don't think he knows who any of you, any of you are.
Your dad watches Pondering Politics. That's so cute.
Guy, optics pilled. What do you think on this?
I mean, I feel like I gave my thoughts. I didn't see the Gavin Ben thing, but you guys saw how I treated Ben Shapiro. But I only had 10 minutes with him. I think. How could you not fight with these guys if you're talking to someone like Ben Shapiro? So I'd have to see what Gavin's doing. I don't know what his goal is with that conversation, but I don't know. I have to see it. I didn't even see the clip, so I have no clue.
I think you guys should reserve judgment for if you watch the full thing, because
we'll watch it.
Because if you watch the clips, maybe you're imagining him just like really being conciliatory the whole time. That is not what happened. Like
he did with Charlie Kirk. That's what I'm getting fucking flashbacks of trauma to the Charlie Kirk interview.
No, I don't think it was that. I don't think like that was like fully cucked. Fully cucked. That conversation that he had with Kirk, and
that was his first one though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's value in the strategy of the whole like reaching across the aisle kind of thing. It's just a difference of opinion about like how much grace we give particular people. I mean, I obviously have strong feelings about Ben Shapiro, but I'm thinking about the fact that like Ben Shapiro has had consistently one of the most popular like podcasts on iTunes for like I don't even know how long. I don't know if that's changed in recent times after the schism with Candace Owens and the Groypers and all them. But I do think that there are a lot of normies that come into contact or come into some they're exposed to Ben Shapiro podcast clips or like full episodes, and so to that end, I think that there's value in
but those are Republicans, right, Hutch? Like, this is so. Oh God, I can't believe I'm starting this up again. But this is so crazy to me that it's like how much we need to fight against the left. But like, oh, we gotta be a little nicer to Ben Shapiro.
Gotta be nice to Shapiro, bro.
And abetting and specifically voting for Trump. Like, this is insane to me.
Dream guest on my podcast. Sorry,
it's about the normies. You guys know that I have been consistently all about. Like we need to nobody on this panel would disagree, right? That the Democratic Party brand or left-wing politics as a brand in this country has turned off a lot of normies in recent years, right?
Sure,
like, does anybody disagree with that?
No.
Yeah, so that's where I'm coming from. Like, I don't think I'm not having a conversation with or going at like hardcore lefty people's necks because I'm trying to convert their normie audience. Like, I don't think they have normie audiences.
I guarantee you, at least like the Pac-Man and Kyle Kalinske definitely has normie audience. So like, if they see you, if you had a debate with Kyle Kalinske on Kyle's channel and you were at his throat, I think maybe you'd turn off the normies in Kyle's. Now Hassan, I don't know. I don't think he's got a lot of normies, but yeah.
Josiah's predominating audience is like 55-year-old women in suburbia. It's a very different audience. Than
we talked about that. Yeah.
Hell yeah!
They don't watch any of his live streams. They only know how to turn on to. Yeah.
But my mom watches them too. And
do you guys have any normies in your life that have kind of expressed like buyer's remorse with Trump? Because that happened to me this weekend. I had a normie family member who voted for Donald Trump tell me that they regretted their vote. And they hoped they wished that he hadn't won because of everything that was happening in Minneapolis. And so I have to think there's like a lot of that going on right now. Did any of you guys do any of you guys have
the elections?
I don't talk to my Trump family.
The elections last year suggest that a lot of people are unhappy with Trump. That's for sure.
My Trump friends are diehards.
Do you guys think that we are witnessing the death rattles, not of the Republican Party, but of Trumpism as a movement? Nonfon, go.
No.
If we are, it's going to be Groypers that come next.
Really? What is that based on? What numbers are you looking at?
I don't have numbers behind it. It's just that's my intuition based on people. Maybe I'm too online. The people who are popular online, and even some of the people who, I mean, we saw the Young Republicans group chat. I don't know how many of them were like full Groypers, but like it seems like that's growing.
Well, look, Kanye West apologized today in the Wall Street Journal, so I think there's a turning of the page here.
That wasn't him. That was Ye. Ye said all those things. It wasn't him.
Oh, Ye.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No. I'm saying there's like a dual personality thing. Kanye is like the Norman Osborn, and Ye is like the Green Goblin, right? Like telling him to like be anti-Semitic.
I mean, I say it in jest, but I think it actually does show you that like it's not catching on, and that stuff is not going to carry people very far. I think that bleeds into our politics too. The Nick Fuentes's of the world, their stars are fading, and they will fall.
I think the right are too intimidated by the Groypers. I look at one metric in particular, and that is what percentage of America don't approve of interracial marriage. I think that's probably like the most useful metric to figure out, like, okay, who are the actual like Groypers?
Well, the Groypers are in interracial marriage. A lot of them are, at least. Like, they're hypocritical, but like they marry like Latina women and Asian women, and then they're like, well, this one's the okay one, but I'm sure they'd still.
Yeah, but they still say it's not okay. There was that one Christian nationalist 2 weeks ago. He wrote an essay about interracial marriage not being ideal.
Yeah, he's like, my wife is not ideal. That was insane.
Yeah, it's harder for her to assimilate to his culture. That's fucking insane. But like, he still opposes interracial marriage, and that number is 3%. So I don't think the Groypers are the future of the Republican Party, and if they are, I think it's going to lead to like Obama numbers.
I have a different metric for the influence of Groyper stuff. And that's the amount of Grindr outages at conservative conferences. And the more that number goes up, the more I'm getting doom-pilled.
Is that real, Pisco? I don't know if I've ever seen like a real metric on this. I feel like everyone, some
People
big
say
account
it.
will just say it every time there's like a thing, a gathering of Republicans, and then it gets retweeted. But I don't know if it's true because I don't have Grindr.
Just say grinder outage.
Yeah, maybe I got to bring Grinder next time I go to AmFest and just check if it's working. You know, just for science.
This is a joke. This is a
Like,
joke. Fuck,
All
I
right,
might follow through.
We're a little over, guys. Any last words? Otherwise, if not, last words. No.
I love Pisco. Pisco's my boy.
I love Hutch, dude. Hutch is
Pisco's
my boy.
Well, I love all of you so much, and I love black women. Nonfon, where can people find you?
Yeah, Nonfon on YouTube, Nonfon 420, Twitch, kicking Twitter. I will say, okay, I saw people shitting on my healthcare takes. Okay, you can join my Discord server. I'm open to conversations on it. If people want to discuss that, I'm open to going into the ex post hold up problems with pharmaceutical innovation that's being directly subsidized, and the fact that like private pharmaceutical R&D is like it's 5. I don't think it's 5x. It's 2x like the entire NIH budget. But I'll be on a Gibbs panel later this week. He hasn't said when yet, but about the Trump economy. I'll probably be at the UFA tour February 4th, and I'll do an IRL stream there. I'm not affiliated with UFA, to be clear, but I go there to hang out when they're close to me.
You're a UFA orbiter, you might say.
I am a UFA orbiter.
Hutch, what's going on this week?
Just covering politics. Same time. Stream starts at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and Twitch. It's just Hutch on both.
All right, Guy.
Nonfon, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on the R&D concern. I'm going to look into that. We had a guest, Stacy, who was trans, who said she was concerned that Republicans can take over the system and that trans people will be screwed in the future. So some interesting opinions to consider with Medicare for all. I still think the greater good will surpass any concerns and lead to a smarter, healthier population that can innovate or whatever. I wish we had a show last week because I finally had something to plug. I had Dan Goldman, representative from New York, on my stream. And we talked about Epstein files. He was a former. Thank you. I appreciate it, Pisco. He was an assistant U.S. attorney at the Southern District of New York for 10 years. So his perspective on some of this stuff, like the Minneapolis shooting and the Epstein files, was very interesting. So if you guys are curious, you can see it on my YouTube page. And I'm trying to set up some more talks like that. You guys inspire me. I always come here. I'm like, I'm just debating complete morons every day on TikTok, but I'll continue doing that. And hopefully I'll have some more interviews and debates.
You're on the front lines, Guy. We appreciate it. Not everyone can tolerate that.
Oh, by the way, I got my second clip on Livestream Fail. I'm at the top of Livestream Fail right now for a debate clip. Yeah.
What for?
Fuck yeah.
Some guy was saying that the Alex Preddy guy was, a terrorist shooting to kill, and just all the crazy shit they say. And I said, "Oh, you got reported for misinformation," which happens on TikTok. The timing was just perfect.
Wait, actually, this is a minute long. I want to watch it. Let's watch. That's great.
Yeah, go for it.
We don't get enough time in our
minutes.
lives.
I don't know if you want to show it.
No, it's fine. A minute 30 seconds.
No, let's do it.
Look, we have so much Pisco Hutch arguing, and you and me just we're like, my parents are hurting each other, and you know what? Let's get a little Guy clip in our life, all right?
It's definitely.
I'm not sure what I said to Hutch.
Can you guys hear the audio?
People's mouth like you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a wonder we have crap going on in this country, like Minneapolis
Let's talk about that.
On and on and on.
You say I'm lying and I'm spewing misinformation. The Trump administration, Stephen Miller, said that Alex Preddy, the guy that was unalived by ICE
crook,
agents,
that domestic terrorist,
that he's a domestic terrorist and that he was an assassin there to commit maximum carnage. Do you think that's what he was there to do? Assassinate people?
Of course, he was. Why didn't he stay at home? He was there to disrupt. There's no question.
No, he wasn't. He was there to observe and film, which is what he was doing. We saw that on camera. Mm-hmm. Can a man not bring a weapon to a protest? Does we not have Second Amendment rights?
Of course.
So then why did he end up losing?
You cannot pull a weapon on federal agents.
He didn't pull it.
Yes, he did.
No,
yes,
he didn't.
Did.
They pushed him to the ground. The only thing in his hand was a cell phone. They grabbed his weapon. He didn't even pull it on them. He didn't brandish it. Nothing.
Yeah.
See, this is I think we've identified the problem. Where do you get your news from? How do you find out what's going on in the world? Where do you go?
CNN.
You go to CNN?
Lol, he's
Yes.
trolling
Then you
you.
would've
Everything they say is a lie.
Yep. Okay, so why would you go watch a
So I
news
go
source that lies to you?
exactly the opposite,
Oh,
and every
boy.
time I'm right.
You've been flagged for
Yeah.
misinformation. dude.
Oh, of
Oh
course.
my god,
How do they catch them so fast?
that was
An
insane.
algorithm thing.
There's
I
that
don't know,
AI
combination of
That's hilarious.
algorithm and reports.
All right, well, cool. I mean, that's all. I wish caught that live. That's hilarious.
It
That was
it's almost
sick.
like 3 out of 10 Trump supporters get flagged for misinformation now on TikTok. It's obnoxious.
I got flagged for bullying because I called someone bad names. So I don't love TikTok, but at least they also got the misinformation. All right, Pisco, what's going on with you this week?
Well, speaking of extreme fails, I'm gonna have an interview / legal analysis of deadly seriousness with Stale 2000, the Reddit moderator celebrity. So that'll happen probably sometimes this week. Don't ask me why, but reach out and we'll be having a talk about some things, I'm sure. And then separate from that,
Reddit
more discussions, more
more
debates happening. Well, he needs to be treated like a celebrity. He needs to be given good things. What else?
right.
Hang on. And wait, one other thing. I lost it. Oh. I lost it. I'm sorry. But yeah, just follow my channels.
No,
Why-
I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry.
Why did you torture yourself with talking to Rob Knorr last night? Why do this to yourself?
Oh boy, I listen to
I have a
some
problem.
of
I
that,
just-
brother.
I just-
Holy shit.
You're
So-
addicted,
so-
bro. You're addicted.
I have a problem. No, the Wick part was the funniest part because Rob has this like completely deranged view that because we feel that Trump incited under the standard of Brandenburg, anyone who says sus things or advocates crimes in the abstract is meeting the Brandenburg standard just because he misunderstands that standard as he misunderstands and misapplies the standard of insurrection. And so it's just very funny to watch him walk through those hoops and accuse Wick of some shit. And so that was like, I think the funniest part, if you could get any of it. I think Wick is making a video of just that segment, which you can watch on his channel, or if you want the full VOD, it's like we're tired, we're talking to each other, and it's in my stream VODs playlist. But yeah, I don't know. I like talking to the guy.
He doesn't deserve you, bro. You're too nice. He's such a prick. I don't know if he was last night, but in general, he's
That's
such
what
a
everyone
prick.
says. I'm too nice to Rob Knorr. I'm too nice to the Vanguard. I'm too nice to Richard Hanani. I'm too nice to
No,
Counterpoints.
It's not.
Why don't
It's not that you're too nice. It's that some of these people are rude to you, man.
you know what? I let it. It's water off a duck's back. The only rudeness that I take issue with is Hutch. He has the double. He has the double. I'm just I'm joking. I love Hutch.
All right, cool. Well, check them out. And do you still need your 1,000 TikTok followers? You got it already.
Oh shit! I think I'm close. Yeah, follow me on TikTok. Peaceful Lady.
All of this going on TikTok. I think I'm doing a Wick panel Thursday, which, yeah, that's it on my end. But thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been great. We love you, Nonfon. We love each other. We love Black women. This is Live and Learn. Next week, more contentious because we got the Demon Ogre Boy on. So check it out.
That'll be fun.
Oh
Yikes.
my